All right, guys, it's Tom. It is 9:52 Eastern, May 20th. We're just wrapping up. I don't know if it's actually finished yet, but we're just wrapping up the 1989 Summer Sprint Draft, which means if you're listening to this, you're probably a Summer Sprint coach or perhaps a lonely Somifa coach on a long trek to parts unknown doing deliveries. That's a particular Somifa coach who I know listens from time to time. Or maybe Zeb Strong listening in, ready to pounce on any bad things that I say. Zeb's a good guy. But anyway, Somifa is a great league that I'm playing. I think it's the best league out there in terms of coaches for now. That changes, of course, but I think it's been that way a long time. I do think it's changing a little. It's still the best, but not by not as much. And depending on some personnel changes the next couple of years, they could lose that status as clearly the best anyway for coaching concentration of great coaches. But actually, that's a keeper league, and I'm referring to keeper leagues when I say that. These leagues here, the Battle Royale and Summer Sprint leagues, have tremendous coaching quality, especially normally. I realize, I see these things and I'll say like the top 5 or 6 guys, and some guys who I don't mention will get upset. So I try to think of a way to say it that's not as upsetting, and I usually fail. So people just get upset. I say, well, all right. I do an honest show. I'm giving you my honest opinion, what I think, what I feel. I wouldn't have included Aaron Onderdunk in the group of elite Battle Royale coaches going into this 2017 season. He just beat me in the Super Bowl. So what do I know there? Okay. So Aaron can say, yeah, who's elite now, Tom? With Todd Gurley and Tyrod Taylor beating my club 27-24 a couple nights ago. Very tough game, a great game, epic game. Epic game worth watching, listening to. Michael Reeves with a call. Michael usually listens in to my SSFA, to all my shows, really. He's in SSFA with me. But he has me subscribed on YouTube, and he listens a lot if he sees a notification to put it on. So maybe he's come back from basketball or something. Michael's a very active guy, which is good. Also has a wonderful singing voice. He did the Star Spangled Banner before. Was it a Cleveland Cavaliers game or a college basketball game? But it's on YouTube, and it was very good. Maybe we'll have Dennis link that out again. But most importantly, of course, Michael's in. There you go. Most importantly, Michael texts me while he's listening. Michael has a glorious full head of hair, and I'm extremely jealous. I can only imagine how Dennis feels. My hair is thinning. Well, my hair's thinning. My hair's thinned. My hair was thinning, and now it's thinned. Receding hairline. I'm losing the battle. Dennis is ahead of me in the losing the battle department. As he's fully bald. I suspect when I see Dennis's face, it looks like he could have some hair around the side if he wanted the crown action going. And he shaves it off and goes full bald. I think it works for him. I don't think it would work for me. I always feel like I would look like King Kong Bundy. Well, I think the late King Kong Bundy. I think he passed away. The wrestler from the 1980s. If I shave my head, he was not a particularly good-looking individual, I would say, with a shaved head. If you're an old WWF fan at that time, pre-WWE. But I digress, which I usually do. This will probably be part 1 of 2, because I was thinking of doing only a 90-minute show, and that was about 20 minutes ago before I got all my files up and running and got started. And I've got to eat something and not go to bed too late. Mostly because with my disability, I have home attendants who take care of me, and I got to be fair to them. Many of you know about my disability. If you don't know, you can ask somebody, or you can ask me next time you see me, / not seeing me, messaging me because we're playing a game, or maybe you're messaging me because you're complaining about something I'm about to say in the draft recap show, which would not be uncommon, I think. Let me make sure this thing is broadcasting. I'm paranoid. I don't have my broadcast part of Dennis Crowley. Family time for Dennis, which makes sense. Coach Butch listening, waiting to hear how poorly he did. Here's what he said earlier. Butch had picked number 13. So you got a little wait a little bit, Butch, before I start insulting you. But hopefully,
I can wait.
There you go. I tried being the kinder, gentler Tom Cook about 2 years ago. It didn't really take. I had a decent 9 months. Didn't work out, so I think I went in the opposite direction more fully. I used to email. I used to post in the forum like in the Samif and say, "I'm going to do a season preview show. Please let me know if you'd like the polite version, my polite assessment of your team, or my actual assessment of your team." So I'm not. I guess I'm not a good, nice person when I do these shows, but I don't know. I get mad about things. Well, let's start with this. Well, I'll start with one thing first of all. I think this is good to do. So I criticize people. I say they make mistakes. I say they make all these bad moves. I really blew it in this draft. I made a horrible mistake from which I will never recover. And it still bothers me. It's still annoying to me. I do all this work with all these spreadsheets. I think I'm going to get into that in a minute. But anyway, what I did was I was looking to. I knew I was going to have a good quarterback in this draft, okay? Because I was drafting, well, for two reasons. Number one, I was drafting 14. Number two, there were only 2 or 3 quarterbacks that I felt were worth taking at the expense of a good pass defense. It was Joe Montana, Jim Everett, and possibly Warren Moon. There's no other quarterback I would have taken over a pretty sure road to a good pass defense. And this is all based on mathematical analysis, which I'll get into in a minute. But so anyway, I usually don't have a good top quarterback, but in this set particularly, there's only about 8 decent ones, and then a dramatic fall off. And most of us are in the dramatic fall off area with our quarterbacks. So I'm not going to have a great quarterback. There's only a few real good running cards I liked as well, but I knew I had to get some kind of running game. But I feel like if you're first in this rule set, no dump off, no wide die 6 rule set. This is the old-fashioned kind of basic Strat-O-Matic football rule set from the 80s, early 90s, until Strat realized they have a problem with the West Coast and the completion percentages of the NFL ever increasing, and their game is stuck in 50% land. They got to do something about it. So they started making improvements to the game with adding yards to the flat pass, and ultimately in the early 2000s, adding the wide die 6 for the linebacker, the dump off. But some people say, I don't like improvements. I want to go with what's old and stale and crusty. So please, let's play 2017, Dennis Crowley, with rules that were broken in 1989. I don't understand. It's like you're starting a basketball league. Say, you know what? Let's get rid of it. We don't need the 3-point shot. You put the ball in the basket, you get 2 points. Why use a 3-point shot? And what's with this wide lane? Will Chamberlain's not playing anymore. Let's get the narrow lane back. Come on. And why do you have to shoot the ball every 24 seconds? Just take your time. Shoot it whenever you want. So the final score is 10-8. People are happy if you win. Anyway, I'm not a Luddite, that's for sure. But the rule set works good for the past season, such as this one, okay? But if you're experienced with these rules and with this era, and I don't even think of this era as that old because I was 19 during this 1989, and it was kind of modern to me compared to the 70s. Way more passing once Dan Marino came around, right? But if you're familiar with this era, you're just not going to win pass first. You really can't. This era in this rule set, it's very hard to win pass first. First of all, you have to have a great short pass right quarterback, and you have to have a ton of pass blocking. If you don't have those 2 things, you're not going to win pass first. You're just not. Everything is against you. The sacks are against you. The interceptions are against you. The completion percentages are against you. Guys try to do it, and they generally fail miserably. You have to use the run to set up the pass when you play with this rule set. You have to. Even more so in this era because of the dominance of the pass rush. The modern era, you might be able to get away with it. You can West Coast probably because the flat passing quarterbacks are so good. But the pass rush is certainly not going to kill you. The interception is not usually going to kill you. But you go back 70s through mid 80s, further back certainly, and even the way this set looks after I analyze the set, you have to run to set the pass. You just unless you get the Miami offensive line and a good and one of the better quarterbacks, that's not you can have a really hard time saying I'm going to pass first and that's how I'm going to run my offense and I'm going to be a successful team. I'm going to win at least 10 games. I know Aaron won the title at 9-8. but I wouldn't bank on going 9-8 and winning the title, right? You want to get into the playoffs comfortably. 10 plus wins, I think, is a successful season. If you make the playoffs, that's nice, I guess. But for me, 10 plus wins is a successful season this league this year. 9 is good to get in if you do something in the playoffs, probably. Or maybe if you're newer or not used to making the playoffs, you feel content to make the playoffs. And there's some real good coaches in here. There's some guys I don't know. I've never played with New Paul. Paul, is it Schlafler? Anyway, I haven't played with Paul. I haven't played with Anthony, who's in the studio audience. That's 2. I've not played with Gerald. That's 3. Although we were chatting quite a bit on Slack down at our end of the draft, Gerald and I. Now, Jay is new to Summer Sprint. Jay Villing is a tremendous coach. I play with him in SOMIFA and SSFA, and he's top shelf. He's right there with Dennis. So don't take Jay lightly. Now, Jay might be listening. Oh, Tom, what are you building me up for? I don't know, a quarterback. I'm new to the format. It's all right, Jay. A little pressure never hurt. But I played with almost everybody else. Of course, played with Brian, just to make it less confusing. Mr. Lewis and the foot doctor. That's backwards. Mr. Lewis is the foot doctor. So it's, these guys confuse me. Brian, even though the names are spelled differently, Brian L and Brian F. For now, I guess. And everybody else I've known for a while and played with for a while. Some of these guys, David Pagic, I used to play a ton. Nearly 20 years ago now, David. When the Strat Internet Football Association was like a ladder climbing thing that he and I were always vying for one of the top 3 or 4 positions in. First couple of years that was around. Chris Call ran that for a long time, then became more of a basketball guy. You might see him in the basketball section of the Strat-O-Matic forum. I played with Ron Martin for a long time, probably well over 10 years. I played with Butch for a long time, probably about 15 years since I first started playing Butch. Other guys are newer. Michael Reeves, only a few years I've been playing him. He came on because of our shows. I was going around YouTube looking for football, sort of thing for my thing. Let's do it. So what the hell is this? Sent me a message, and away we go. And now he's in here playing with us. And don't you regret it, Michael. I will stop to drink some water occasionally. Hold on. So I don't know how long I'm going to go tonight. I should probably get off by like 11:20 Eastern or so. It's 10:05. But I say that all the time. Then I go about 8 hours. I'm not going to do 8 hours tonight. I can't do that. But I might do. So this might be a 2-party. Make an hour and a half tonight and might get some more tomorrow. And this will be just a draft recap, and then there'll be a season preview show probably. I usually fold them in together, but the file's not quite ready. Oh, so I'm not even going to know who's got what kind of ratings for the defense. I don't have it up to the spreadsheet. Dennis, if someone wants to whip that up. I know Rick, I think, is averaging poor. And Gerald, I think, is averaging poor. So I'll keep this up. This should be helpful. So anyway, I think I'm going to start off. I'm going to talk more about how I prepare for the draft and what I think about this particular set, which I think will be informative for our discussion. So when I'm preparing for the draft, obviously, I look at the defensive combos. I put together a defensive combo spreadsheet, usually with a couple errors, such as thinking that Miami had a right corner 5 when they don't. I asked someone to double check it. Mike Nemo did the offensive line and found a couple errors, which is good, dramatically elevating Kansas City up to number 3 from wherever they had been previously. But I know there was that error in the secondary. I really hate these errors, but I still love my Strat football, as you can tell by the fact that I'm doing this show. But I think my interest in double checking things left and right ad nauseum before I send them out to make sure it's correct. I don't know if I have I don't seem to have the interest in that like I used to. Like a couple of years ago, I would go through this thing 3 times. I would literally go through this thing at least 3 times before sending it out, because I feel like, guys are relying upon me to give them the information. They expect high quality information because I've been doing it. And I don't want to mess. I don't like messing something up when someone else is relying on me. I don't mind messing up myself. Hey, I'm human. I'll mess up. I don't like messing up when someone else is relying on me, which is a good trait, I guess. It's not like I'm crying about it, but I don't want to create a problem. Go to sleep. So my voice program, I just see me clicking around the screen. But so I put the combos together first, and I don't know what order I do things in, but I know I do the defensive combos first. I like to have someone else do the offensive line because I don't like it. Not that I don't like offensive line, but there's no combo there, right? I was like, if I get the Rams plus something else, now I have a great running back. No, it's just what it is, right? I like doing the other combos because then you can see, well, how many can anyone get to excellent? How many goods are there? What do we need to get good against the pass? If I get a 21 unit, I'll do things like this. This is before Dennis establishes the order. If I get a 21 unit, right, in a 4-3, wow, look at this. From 4 to 20 to 17 slots, then I'm going to get good or better. So I take that and I can pass on my linebackers. I'm going to be good against the pass. In a 3-4 with 21, it's even better. I'm guaranteed, right? So I'm figuring out, right, what if I get a 20, right? And what if I get a 19, right? And the 19 is like, now I'm going to have a hard time getting into a good pass defense in a 3-4. What about in a 4-3? And on the 19 in a 4-3, that was the 19 I was looking at. That was 18. Okay. So in a 3-4 at a 19, I'm only getting to good with 3 linebacker groups. So if good against the passes is generally this. I do a lot of spreadsheet stuff involving Strat football. I have a spreadsheet for every game that I play, basically. Doesn't mean that now people hear that they go, oh my God, that's crazy. It is crazy, but it's not like I create a brand new spreadsheet every single game. What I have is I have a template, okay? And then all I do is punch the numbers for your skill players, right? The numbers from the Strat file, not the whole card, right? I'll sit there and type in your backup running backs card. I mean, that would be crazy. But I punch the numbers from the spreadsheet, and I punch in your defensive ratings, right? And your pass blocking and your run blocking. And I then, with my spreadsheet, can see, what the completion percentage is and what the average gain is on every single type of pass you can throw. Guess right and wrong to each of your receivers with minimum or maximum men in the zone, which is pretty good. I also see what the pass rush percentages are for a sack, depending on whether I blitz 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 linebackers, both with no safety blitz and with a safety blitz. I think that's very helpful. And I can do the same for my offense against your defense. Running backs, every type of run they can do. Guess right, guess wrong, 0 man, 1 man, 2 man. And I use that to say, well, I can live with this guy doing X, Y, and Z. So that's what I do. It's helpful to me. I've been slowly building that and improving it over the last 5-6 years. It's pretty much where I want. It's been pretty much where I wanted it for about 18 months. But there's still stuff that could be added. But like I said, I get lazy and this enough. Now I don't use a spreadsheet for every single game, every single season. But I do at times when I say, you know what, I really want to go for it this year. I want to be serious with this team. I did it with my Battle Royale team. They went 13-4, made the Super Bowl and lost. Total Masters FA team this year, they're 14-0. Of course, that's a very good team personnel-wise. And they should only be 12-2. I should have lost 2 games already. I'm very lucky at the end of 2 games. But they are 14-0. This team, I hate my team this year in Summer Sprint. I really hate them. It's awkward offense, very clunky, and it's my own fault. If I made a better draft pick with my wide receivers, and I had the opportunity to, then that team would have been real good. But anyway, this is what it is. So I look at all the combos. What's what? And of course, I say, well, okay, if I'm going to play a 4-3 for whatever reason, because maybe it's easier to get good against the pass, then what do the 4-3 run defenses look like? What can I live with here? I think I shaded all the ones that I thought were desirable. Is what I did here. So anyway, my spreadsheet works have generally shown me that in this league and in this format, in the old-fashioned rule set, that only like it has to be a really top-notch quarterback card for it to exceed the impact of the good pass defense cards. And that's probably partly because of the interceptions on the good pass defense cards compared to average, but also, I mean, to get to good defense, you're going to have 5s and 6s probably, whereas at average, you're going to have 4s and 5s probably. So whatever the reason is, in my spreadsheets, it just came out that unless you've got like a real primo quarterback card, you're better off having a good pass defense. So I kind of pursued that as my mantra. I'm good against the pass. That's what I want. Now, having said that, so I then have formulas for which I rank quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, kickers, and punters, and even return guys. These are all very subjective. Okay, I have a formula, but I'm not a slave to the formula. But I try to incorporate. I don't try. I incorporate completion percentage right and wrong with equal weight to flat pass, short pass, and long pass. I usually do a completion of about 62% right, 38% wrong, because I think you're going to be throwing right. I just estimate how often you're throwing right. But sometimes I'll bring that number down if I have a good running team. It depends on the era. I think when if you're doing modern rules, like in me for SSFA, I think 70% completion right, 30% wrong, because people just get past all the time. And I have the completion percentage, flat pass, short pass, long pass, equally weighted. I have your yardage, right and wrong, flat pass, short pass, long pass, equally weighted. Here's where the file screws you. This file does not include must-run yardage. Okay? I mean, it doesn't include it as part of its formula for the quarterback. So a quarterback who has got good must-run yardage is always going to come out worse in the file than I would say he should, because both his completion percentage in the file and his yardage in the file are not accounting for those must runs, right? So when you take a guy, I mean, Steve Young's must run isn't even as good as I would have thought this year. Neither was Randall Cunningham's. Take a guy like Vinny Testaverde. Hardly anyone's idea of a mobile quarterback, okay? But Vinny happens to have a very fine must-run column with 2 to 6 to 10 yards or more, 2 to 7 is 8 yards or more, and it's on an 8. So, I mean, I look at this and say 6 and 7. Vinny has 11 short pass right completions, but that must-run's got 5 units with 2 to 6 is 10 yards or more. I mean, that's where that 2 to 6 is a first down. It's just as good as that plus 11 on a 7. So that's 1, 3, 6, 10, 15 out of 36. That's 5 out of 12. So 5 out of 12 is, I think, 38.3 times 5. So Vinny's getting almost 2 more completions on this card because of that 8 must run and what it means. I generally give a run of 7 yards or more as a completion because I consider it still as a positive play. That can skew some long pass right results at times, because a long pass right that goes for 7 yards probably isn't very much of a completion. But if you're playing the dump off, it would be. But anyway, that's what I do, and I find it works. So I give them I count the must runs as completions that are 7 yards or more. I weight the right and wrong. I deduct I do the yardage per column. Flat pass right, wrong, short pass right, wrong, long pass right, wrong, and I deduct a certain amount of yards for an interception. Is it 42.5 yards or is it 60 yards? I forget the exact number, but I kind of figured out. All right, if I was playing, look, I've been playing this game for 40 years, right? We've all been playing a lot of strat football. How many yards of offense would equal a lesser amount of yards with like 2 turnovers? That's kind of like, all right, would I rather have like 320 yards of offense and 2 turnovers, or 200 yards of offense and no turnovers? And there's no math there. I heard that Bill Parcells, I think, once factored a turnover as like a 50-yard play or something like that. But I was like, you know what? That's kind of even, right? 200 yards and no turnovers, 320 and 2 turnovers, especially in this era when the offense is harder to come by and your defense can actually shut people down. So I think I have estimated like 60 yards for a turnover. And now, and you got to realize, an interception it's 60 yards for. Let's say if I count it as 60 yards for a turnover, that's not including the return, right? And you got a 2 in 36 chance at a touchdown. You got a plus 25 there, plus 20 in there. Then you might fumble it away. 3 out of 36 on a 10 on the chart is 1 out of 12 fumble, but you recover half of those. So that fumble is actually only a 1 in 24 turnover. You get back to the guy. So I believe in the beginning I factored all those things in. And to come up with whatever number I'm deducting for interception for the guy's card. So I count the interceptions not in the rating like the NFL passer rating, but in a deduction of yardage. I think it's like minus 42 yards per interception or something like that for each interception unit, right? So I ended up, and then I ended up estimating, I think 31 passing attempts per game, which sounded reasonable for this era. And I think I looked at some stats from other summer sprint leagues. This has all been put together over the last 5 or 6 years, slowly building things until about 18 months ago. I kind of got to where I am now. And then I figured out to figure how many yards per game am I getting out of this quarterback card. But it can't just be yards. It's got to be completion percentage, right? And then the sack fumbles from this number are going to hurt him, and those come off over here. And then his snap fumble, which is going to hurt him over here. I take all the teams from the year, which is 1989 this year. I put them into a new league that I create in the Strat-O-Matic, and I make all the defenses draft league defense average, play with individualized fumble, and then I autoplay the season, and then I search the log files to find the snap fumble number for each quarterback and the individual fumble number for each running back. And to make it sound even crazier, even the must-run fumble number. Watch out, Dave Craig. That's Dennis's guy. Oh, my God. Mark Rippon has a low number, thank God. But even the must-run fumble number for these guys, which rarely comes up and is usually not that bad. Well, it can be. But also, if you're losing yards in the must-run fumble, it goes to your quarterback receiver fumble, the sack fumble number, not the individual fumble number for the quarterback. That part I have not factored in. Because usually the guys who you lose a lot of yardage on the must-run, they're the guys who almost never have it. Like Dan Fouts or Marino, or I guess Rippon this year probably has a terrible must-run card. So, but it comes up so infrequently, and I guess even I have my limits that I didn't incorporate that. So then I've got like a true completion percentage and like a true yards per game. I came up with some kind of way of valuing them. I think I've got DL3 and DQ3 times 2. I think it's like 60% completions, 40% yards, or something like that. I don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, whatever I'm doing, it ends up with a rating for the guy, right? And then I multiply them by a certain number to create a greater spread. Otherwise, the numbers are so close, it's just hard to differentiate. I want a little more of a gap. So those things were things that I worked in. I've never revealed all this to anyone in this type of depth. What people have asked me, and I've issued a piecemeal and stuff like that. But what the hell? Let me do it here. So I factor all these things in and come with a rating system for the quarterbacks, okay, and the running backs and other positions. I do similar things based upon assumptions, and I've tweaked the assumptions over the years. Now, these things to me, especially for quarterbacks, these things are not really for any position, but quarterback is so important, of course. These are not set in stone. I do not rank these guys this way and then say, bang, that's it. Chris Miller is better than Ken O'Brien. No way. Jim McMahon, Bobby Bush is better than Bobby Hebert. Probably not. I looked at those things and I liked Hebert's what he could do better. Because, number one, this is very subjective and it's something I've tweaked a lot. And but it's not perfect, because what do I want? I've talked about this in the Somifa leagues and a lot of the season preview shows. What I want out of a quarterback, I want a quarterback who can throw all 3 levels. I want to go back with a flat, short, and long with reasonable ability. If I can't throw long, especially in this era, but if I can't throw long, you can flood the flats, you can go short. I can't make you pay for double teaming as aggressively or even free safety blitzing. Right? I need the short pass right to convert those 3rd and 9s they're going to come up. And to get touchdowns in the red zone, Dennis will tell you. I need the flat passing, so it's harder for you to just stuff my running game or blitz heavily and comfortably. And I like the flat pass, and flat pass is very effective. I want to keep your linebacker standing there and not bothering me otherwise. So strategically, that type of thing comes in. That's why a guy like Chris Miller, who I think Brian was saying, "Woe is me," I had to draft Chris Miller. And people can do messages. Coach Bush, I already lost the battle. Did you fall asleep? No. Okay. Yeah. If you guys want, you can type something in the chat thing on the side, and if I get a chance, I'll see it. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can do that. But so I was saying, so Chris Miller came up really good, surprisingly, in my rankings. He was number 10. Steve Young's joining teams. He was number 9 in my original rankings by rating. But I look at his card, and now I'm in Dennis's world, which is not a good place to be for what I'm trying to do here. Okay, there we go. But look at his card. It's, oh my God, 5 and 7 flat pass wrong is incomplete. And I guess it's like a low interception card, but I know he has a high snap fumble of 11. And I'm like, all right, the strength is of the long pass wrong, 25913. But this flat pass bothers me a lot. Really bothers me a lot. So I was like, I don't want this guy. I compared him to the guys I had below him, such as like Vinny Testaverde, who throws many, many more picks, but doesn't have the snap fumble. And I said, I'd rather not take Chris Miller. I'd rather use this guy, or even Jim McMahon. So I can see where Chris Miller dropped, because other guys not even doing these type of formulas. Just look at the card. Like, I'm not in love with this card. I agree he should be used. Again, a lot of us are stuck with bad quarterbacks, but I understand why he slipped down where he did, even though he came out higher in my rankings. So I do that for quarterbacks. Then, because of this era, if you have a good running team with a bad quarterback, you're going to get more run calls. So I made like a 50-50 instead of a 62-38. I copied everything over and changed the formulas to 50-50. It didn't make a lot of difference, really. My running backs, I get the in-game fumble numbers, which are different than what you see here. And those are important to find out, but you got to do those in the right environment. You got to make sure there's all kinds of things you got to do. You can't just do it and think it's going to work out right. But I look at the yards per rush plus fumble. I changed the weightings in the file for how often it factors in each one. Like they do, linebacker off tackle or 1.5 times more important than run, which is crazy to me. So I do it, which each run, linebacker off tackle and run weighted equally. I try to factor in the receiving, which with formulas. I do that for all the positions. Halfbacks, fullbacks, wide receivers. Wide receivers here are alphabetical by group, so no, Atlanta's not best. And stuff like that. But that's the type of work I do. Even with kickers, I have a full formula I created. I do average opponent field position. I punch in every kicker's kickoff card to get an average kick position. And then based upon his opponent kicking and the average return in a set, how many opponent kick return yards he's going to yield a game. That's based upon the returnable number of kicks, which data I got from past seasons a few years ago, and assume they're all similar. So I can see like Eddie Murray, average opponent field position is 28. Mike Lance for the 30. So those are yards, right? Those are 2 or 3 yards a game. Now here it's not much yards, 2 or 3 yards. But the return group, it can be, I do yards, total team yards above average, right? Kind of like WAR, but it's not above replacement, but above average. Detroit was 21 yards a game above the average returner, team returner. You get down to a team like Denver, which was 17th in the group out of 18, they're 12 yards under. So I'm gaining 33 yards a game on returns by having Detroit's returners over Denver's returners, right? The punting. I've got, there are 2.6 returnable punts per game on average. And, the spread is not that great, but, you're getting 111 for the top guy. You get 104 for a guy in the middle of the pack. Well, that's 7 yards. Why should I ignore that yardage? So-called hidden yardage, right? I mean, if I told you in the return game, if I told you, hey, I can give you a running back who's going to give you 25 yards a game more than the average back of the other, you're like, oh my God, that's a first-round pick. Give me that guy. Well, okay. But in the return game, I know it's not quite the same because it doesn't give you a new set of downs, but it still has value. So I do all these things to try to find hidden ways to get value and improve. It's all about yardage, right? Yardage leads to points. So trying to get better yardage for my team, but there's other factors. You don't want a chunky running back card, right? You need a receiver who has enough completions. It can't just be all yardage. So same with the quarterback card. High yardage but not that many completions on a short pass isn't as good as vice versa, probably. So all those things, which are subjective but tweaked over the years, when I was seeing how the formulas were working and the decisions they were leading to me, those are all things that I do. So in the course of doing this for a battle royale or what do you call it? A battle royale or summer sprint draft, in the course of doing all of this, I analyze the set, right? I analyze the set. Most important thing, look, it's still strat football. I know what I said about the defense. Quarterback running back combination is still the most important thing, right? Everyone knows that. I think guys overvalued a little bit. It's still the most important thing. Especially this era, no dump off, no white die 6. If you're playing 2017, you can throw the ball 40 times a game with a dump off and a white die 6. And if you have good pass blocking, and you can run an offense, you can go with 3 wide and flat pass all day and make your way down the field. Matriculate the ball down the field, as the late great Hank Stram would say. So, that's that. So in that environment, the combo is not as important. Although you can get by without as good of a running back, or you can get by without as good of a quarterback, and still succeed. But in the old school set, the old school rules, with no white die 6 and no dump off, and all kinds of pass rush and undesirable interceptions on the quarterback's card and on the defense's card, if you play stock teams, no, you have to run the ball to the pass. You have to run the ball to the pass. If you're not planning on running the ball at 50-50, then I recommend you plan on losing, because that's probably what's going to happen. It's just the way of the world back then. And even now, when you can run the ball now you're dealing with short pass wrongs. Not even short pass. Now you're dealing with passing wrongs. You want to generate in the modern game. You still want to be able to run because you want to generate run calls. You want to pass guess wrong. When you can pass guess wrong in the modern game, I mean, these guys are great. Flat and short and stuff like that. So, but you're not you're not going to get any wrong calls unless you have some kind of running game or some commitment to run, even with the mid-level running game. So anyway, so in analyzing the set, I learned like everyone. Now look, I assume that none of you guys did this crazy amount of research, okay, in preparation. I will make that assumption. But even the guys who didn't, I'm sure you ranked the quarterbacks, and you said, man, there's not that many good quarterbacks out there. Now, this is ranked by my ranking, not by the file. So there are guys who fall precipitously, like a Dave Krieg or a Jim McMahon, and there's guys who rise up. Vinny was the big riser. He was 26th in the Strat default file, but he was number 11 in my file. And I find this really helps me, and that's why I include the Strat file, right? Because I know a lot of guys go by the file. So, wait, it's 26 in the file. I sent out an email. If you didn't read it, go back and read it. The file is not a good assessment of how good these cards are and aren't. Mike Kane's a great guy. I love Mike Kane. Mike Kane does the file. I know Mike Kane, as does one of the guys in our league who plays with him in the past. But Mike has told us and posted publicly on the forum that the rankings are not meant to be like official Strat rankings, and they're just some formulas that a guy that he used to do the file with came up with. But it's I mean, look, you're going to have a passing file, and Russell Wilson's must run ability doesn't count. If you think those are the rankings you want to pay attention to, then do that. Personally, I think Russell Wilson and Steve Young's running it should factor in to where I rank them in the set. The file doesn't do that. The file does not include the snap fumble number. So if you don't know your snap fumble numbers, you don't know that Mark Rippon has a 12.3 snap fumble number, which I think is very, very high. You run 60 plays a game, let's say. That's 720 out of 1,000 for a snap fumble. All right? You're going to get at least 12 snap fumbles a year that way. And you lose 6 of them. The other ones are going to be automatic -2s. Chris Miller's got an 11. Dave Krieg got a 15.1. My man Vinny throws picks, but at least he has a snap fumble of only 1. He's still going to throw a ton of picks. Jim Everett's got a 1. The snap fumble is important. Doesn't mean you can't use a guy with a high snap fumble, but I'm very hesitant to use a guy with a number of 8 or better. But anyway, guys who, anyway, even if you just analyze the set, you said, man, these quarterbacks kind of suck. There's not many good quarterbacks out there. Like, to me, once you got below, to me, it was Montana through Kozar. Montana, Everett, Moon, Boomer, Dan Marino, Rip, and Kozar were the guys that were going to go early. What do we play? 18 teams. They were going to be top 22 picks, top 21 picks. Moon slipped. That was a steal where the guy got him, in my opinion. And then there was a fall off. Now, after the fall off, because you can't get Steve Young because he goes to San Francisco. After the fall off, Majkowski was the guy that said, this is the type of card, again, throws all three levels. Good short pass right, can beat you long pass deep, acceptable flat, was the guy that said, I wouldn't mind getting him, but it's got to be in the right spot, third round, fourth round. So I didn't like him going late in the first round, but I could see why somebody did. I could see somebody being scared and saying, if I don't take John Majkowski, I've seen this Chris Miller card. I've seen Jim McMahon's card. Oh my God, I've seen Bobby Richards card. I don't want to use those guys. I'll take Madge in the first. So I can understand that. I'm not sure why Warren Moon was viewed so negatively by everyone else. He's number 2 in the draft file. Number 1 in our hearts. All right, maybe not. I've got Brian Full. Is it Fuller? Beautiful. I'm not sure what's wrong with this card. The interceptions are manageable. The flat pass is very good. 1-3, 6-10. 1-3, 6-10. 14 short pass right. 21 short pass wrong. 13 must run, but he's not that skillful at it, but a little bit. 2-7 plus 4 or more. Long pass 8, 13. It's a solid card. The picks are lower than most of the rivals here. I mean, not Boomer and Bernie, but probably. But that's I'm going off the top of my head there. But I had Moon fairly high, so I was very surprised he lasted the second round. I was glad in a way that he did because I would have had a hard time passing on him. So I'm glad a little bit that Brian took him right before I came on the clock because I would have had a hard time passing on him, but it would have impeded my ability to get the good pass defense. But second round, I get a quarterback like that. That's really, really nice, especially in the set. So there's not going to be a lot of quarterbacks who are good. So you're not going to get a good quarterback. You got to be able to run the ball. I divide my running backs into 1-backs and 2-backs, and then nerf the 2-backs down even further to 2-backs with only 6 carries a game in case your number 1 might get like 30 carries a game. And I do a thing here with the number 1-backs where I give the yard per game at maximum carries. Because we all know Bo Jackson, of course, the great Bo Jackson, had like the best rushing card in the set, number 1 in his draft file. Minimum fumble 4.5 as a neutral. It's 3.0, 6.0, 9.0. That's why I give him the 4.5. But his carries are lower, right? Only 17 unfatigued carries a game. That's 8.5 on, and this could be half your card, half defense. You're gonna hit the Bo card 8.5 times. So yard per game at max carries for Bo is only 66.6. Neil Anderson has 94. I had Neil Anderson as the number 1 back personally. I love Bo's card, but I love the Neil Anderson card. But then as a number 2 back, which obviously Bo and Neil Anderson not going to be your number 2 back, he'll be number 1 back. But I rank all the cards. I'm counting your yards per game on 4.5 carries. Because you maybe get 9 carries a game, which is probably a little high. But I'm including your receiving ability with some estimations to make for how often your flat pass card is going to come up, and short pass and long pass. Okay? And the numbers are low there. The flat pass, obviously the highest for running back, but there's an impact there, right? And even then, I got to use strategy. I got to say, the right wrong weighting and this and that. So there's a lot of subjectivity. All these rankings, I use the formulas to get me in the ballpark, and then I rank based upon looking at the cards and using some subjectivity. But the formulas get me real close to the ballpark, and they sometimes reveal some surprises. Like that Dalton Hilliard, I didn't think I would have him as the number 5 1-back in the set, right? But as a 2-back, he's down to number 8. Ernest Biner came out much better than I thought he would in these formulas, probably because of more so as a 2-back, where you're getting his receiving and his short-handedness coming into play more, whereas a 1-back, Ernest is down here more, right? So, and then there's chunkiness, which I don't have a chunkiness formula. But guys like Greg Bell, Gerald Riggs, I don't like those cards. 7 short game right and wrong, 8 short game right and wrong, but not a lot else going on. And then like Otis Anderson, this is in the number one back column. His card is terrible. He's just here because there's a lot of carries in the math. Bumped him up. So I'm not taking Otis Anderson as my. So like the number two back thing is really more a statement of the guy's card. James Brooks is the great card with a big fumble, so he got dinked down a little bit. But it doesn't factor into account that, a guy like James Brooks is only good at two columns. So actually his average number, if you only run off tackle and run with him, is going to be hot, is going to be better. Right? I do have a linebacker off tackle average. Oh, you see it over here. And then James Brooks, which includes the fumble. Then James Brooks at the 664, which puts him well ahead of a guy like Thurman Thomas. Right? But he's got the big fumble. So, and not as many carries as Thurman. But just so there's some stuff that I look at and what I think about. So to me, there was only the two or three quarterbacks I felt worthy of taking over the good pass defenses. I think I had three running backs. I think I had Bo Jackson, Neil Anderson, Barry Sanders. I was big on Okoye as a running back, number 3, one back. The problem with him is you get stuck with that Kansas City fullback tight end group to take him. The other guys are halfbacks, and he can't catch, and the tight ends can't catch, and they can't block. So strategy-wise, you do not want to have a limited number of decent receiving targets. You become very easy to double team and shut down. If someone's got a 5-strong safety, are they ever going to care at all about my stupid tight end, Jonathan Hayes, who came with the Kansas City Chiefs group? Even a 4 tight end, they're good. Throw it to Jonathan Hayes, Tom. Do me a favor, please. They will because they have to. So you draft Okoye and you're already locking yourself in to 2 of your 5 receiving targets can't really catch. So I didn't like that. That's why he didn't go to the late 3rd round, probably, because all you get out of that group is his running. I wanted Dalton Hilliard, Butch. You'll be happy to learn. My draft took a big turn. 2nd round, 3rd round. 3rd round, I was 1 pick away from getting Dalton Hilliard. Dalton Hilliard, if I'm a little more, you like, got a solid card, not spectacular, but solid, but very good receiving. But what I liked about it also is you pair him, if you can, with one of these tight end fullback groups, like San Francisco particularly was the one I wanted, where Tom Rathman has got a tremendous flat pass receiving card and is good short pass, and Hilliard's got a great flat pass receiving card. Rathman's a 6'7". This is a heavy pass rush set that's going to help against those free safety blitzes. You're going to see it's going to neuter almost all of the Astros linemen who are down or on the line of scrimmage, even that 6-12-9 in Minnesota. And that blocking back 6, you're running off tackle and run, especially to your left. That's tremendous. And you get Brent Jones, a pretty good receiving tight end. So I really wanted, I was like, I'm going to get Dalton Hilliard. I'm going to get the San Francisco tight end fullback. I'm going to actually have a dangerous flat pass game, help with pass blocking, and a good running back. Now I can build an offense, even with my mid-level quarterback, whoever that is. And I'm already going to have a good defense. So then Butch decided to show me one of his fingers. I think it was not the 2nd one, not the 4th one, but there was another one in there that he demonstrated in my direction. And he took Dalton Hilliard right before I went, Butch. That has to make you happy. I'm sure we're seeing some thumbs up in the comments, perhaps. That's why you get the, let's see. Oh, yeah, we have some comments here. I got to respond to that in a minute. But Butch taking Dalton Hilliard, which I was quite I liked a lot. And I wanted to pair it with something, but I didn't get him. So anyway. The point I was making was I do all these formulas, but I'm not beholden to them. There's more to consider than just, this guy's number 1, this guy's number 1, whatever, okay? So to me, there was really only the 3. I did like Okoye, but there was issues with him. So to me, Neil Anderson, Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, those were the 3 running backs that I would have considered taking over defensive stuff, that I would have taken over defensive stuff, especially Neil and Barry, over defensive stuff. So to me, I had 3 running backs. I had 2 or 3 quarterbacks at 6. And maybe the Minnesota defensive line is 7, because that's so good with the 4-3 and the monster pass rush. You have to know how to use that pass rush. We'll see what Michael Reeves can do. He's come a long way as a coach, but he's not experienced in all matters yet. He's only playing online a couple of years. And he's not that he's a little more of a cautious coach. Doesn't want to be too aggressive, especially I think on defense. And this defense might require some of that aggression with the free safety blitzing to take advantage of that Minnesota defensive line. But the unit is certainly worth taking high. So those 7 were the only things that I think I was going to take over trying to get a good pass defense, and preferably a good defense overall, which I know I can use really well. I had the number 1 defense in 1985 Summer Sprint. I had a very good defense in 2017 Battle Royale. Number 1 is there as well. And I'm pretty good at kind of getting an offense together. I was going to play Byron's Ball. Did I tell you guys what Byron's Ball is? Oh, that was in the previous. We'll get to that. I play Byron's Ball in honor of Rick Byron's. But let's get. So that's how I was analyzing this set. So now, other thing in the set, no one can pass block, right? Miami's got 4 7s. Washington's got 3 7s. No other unit had more than 1 7. Indeed, they had plenty of 3s and 4s and 5s. And then I'm going to go look at the defenses, at these linebackers. Well, like all these teams have got 12 asterisks, 12-9 asterisks. Denver's got 2 of them. And defensive lines, you got Minnesota and Philly, and Philly's got 9-9-12 in a 3-4. San Diego's got 12 and 10. There's guys with the bench that can come on. And just like I expected in the 80s, like happened in 83 and 84 and 85, I mean, it's just a pass rush bonanza. And so when you're going to show safety blitz, you are intimidating the offense. And the only guy who can really handle it is the guy that took Miami. Now, ideally, though, I got to say, I know Anthony's in the audience, man, he took Miami 5 overall. That's, for me, the thing is, Miami works well if you have a good quarterback. And if I'm drafting 5 overall, I don't think I'm going to get a quarterback on the way back. Not with 18. I'm drafting 5. 18, 31 selections before I go. I already looked at it. I know Montana's gone. So what do I got? I got like another 6 or 7 good quarterbacks, 31 picks before I pick again. How many of these guys are passing on a good quarterback in both the first and second round? It turned out almost none of them. So once Warren Moon went over here at 2.03 to Brian F., that was it on the quarterbacks, folks. All the good ones were gone in the top 21 picks. And when did the next quarterback go? And who was the poor bastard that took him? Let's see. Ken O'Brien, Joe Golden, who did not come out the grade man rankings, but he got the good flat pass card. But Ken O'Brien, it's not the card that because you have the Miami OL, you're going to sit there. Oh, I'm going to fire downfield all the time, short pass, whatever. His card's not really good enough for that, which Joe knows. But Joe, again, O'Brien's kind of like, all right, he's kind of decent. He's better than the Bobby Bristers of the world. That I don't want to get stuck with him. So I can't blame these guys for the Metchkowski, and certainly not the Ken O'Brien in the 3rd round, because we see the dreck that the rest of us is sorting through and that we're putting on the field. It's a very interesting year. I almost feel like this is the year. 1989, this is the slogan this year. 1989, everyone's screwed. We got 2 guys with poor pass defense. We got half the league doesn't have a quarterback. I screwed up my wide receivers thing. Nobody can pass block. It is, but it's that's what's great about this, though. Right? Everybody's got warts. Look at your teams. Where am I not that good? And you'll probably find 1 or 2 things without having to look too far. But you're in good company because the rest of us the same way. And when I do the season preview show and I see Dennis's file, it'll be interesting to see what the most complete teams are. Joe Golden is a guy that always builds a complete team. Jay Villing in the other leagues always built a complete team. We'll see if they were able to pull it off in this challenging draft environment. Dennis did very, very well. Big surprise. I blew it. If I take the Cincinnati receivers instead of the Detroit pick, I'll get to that when the time is right. But so I'm talking about these things like a Mr. Expert, and I blew the draft for my own team. So when I criticize your team here, remember, you blew it too, Tom. You also suck. So I blew it. Let me look at these. If there's any questions and comments over here. Butcher's talking about his hairstyle. Brian says Miller's flat pass sucks. That's correct. His buddy Hugh Miller is a flat pass monster, though. That is correct. He's also a snap fumble monster to the tune of, is it 20? There's Hugh Millen. Let's see. No, that's his completions. Bad news if your snap fumble number is higher than your completions on your card. 19.7 is the snap fumble for Mr. Hugh Millen. So I don't know how many 15-play drives you want to get going with the flat pass. But on every one of them, it's a 1 in 20 snap fumble. So there was an issue with Mr. Millen there. Yes, he is a flat pass monster. Maven is what I use. Monster doesn't sound good for flat pass. It's just a puny play. Okay, Maven, the flat pass Maven is the one I use. The low interception guys are the good flat passing cards. Let's see, Coach, but 2 reasons to have Steve DeBerg. Monster flat, and Tom took Vinny Testaverde. I will not disparage my quarterback with the nickname you ascribed to him there in the Vinny's colorblind, Butch. You gotta cut him some slack. Steve DeBerg, huh? I'll jump ahead. What do we got here? Flat pass, very good. All the picks on 10. Short pass, 10 to 11. Long pass, he throws even more picks than Vinny. And he's slower. That's not saying a lot. You throw more. West run 7 -2. Doesn't come up that often, thankfully. He's only at 3. If you throw more picks and are slower than Vinny Testaverde, those are not complimentary traits in a quarterback. But Butch was in the category of my quarterback is going to suck, like so many of us are that were in that category. And I had DeBerg as where is he? I had let me look down at Danny White territory. There he is. I had him right behind Phil Simms when the quarterbacks were regular. When I went 50-50, I had him ahead of Phil Simms. So, do you have a good running back, Butch? Yeah, it's all the good. Well, he won't generate a ton of run club. You can run wrong with him, which is fine. But yeah, but there's a lot of, and there's also tiers. Tiers are so important. I was talking about this with one of the guys, right? Like, all right, we might say there's like 7 or 8 real good quarterbacks, and then Majkowski, and then like a cliff that we all fall off. Right? So you could say like, oh, I have the 9th best quarterback. Yeah, but he's way worse than the 8th best guy. Or whatever, whoever you count them, right? So knowing where the tiers are is important. I mean, there's not a lot of difference between Chris Miller and Steve DeBerg in terms of like the quality overall. And that's where the quarterbacks all fell, right? If Testaverde had a better card or Jim McMahon or Bobby Hebert, they'd have gone higher. But Chris Miller, Vinny, Dave Creed, Jim McMahon, Bobby Bristol, Bobby Hebert, Randall Cunningham, DeBerg. There's a lot of differences in the type of player they are, the type of card that they have in terms of strengths and weaknesses, but the overall effectiveness, I had them all lumped fairly closely together, as most of you did, because no one wanted to take a quarterback. Once Kenneth Ryan went, everyone was like, oh, let me stay away, please. So I'm analyzing the set. Here are the quarterbacks. Here are the running backs. Receivers, a lot of really good long pass receivers. And not going to have any time to protect your quarterback. And there's not enough pass block. There's a ton of pass rush. There's interceptions, but there's some really good long pass receivers. And this is where Byron's ball comes in. As a good friend, Rick Byron's excellent coach, 2-time Summer Sprint champion, including with 1980 Vince Ferragamo, who has a bad card. With picks all over the place. And Byron Bull he's not the only one who's ever played this way, but he plays this way a lot in this era, in this rule set. First of all, Rick is an excellent coach. Any era, any rule set, he will take advantage of what's being offered by that rule set and that era. So I'm not saying he's limited to this style. But in these 80s seasons, and into the 70s certainly, Byron's Bull is you run the ball, you run, go deep. That's Byron's ball, and it works. If you have a good defense, and just even like a mid-level running back, he doesn't even get the best running backs usually. And he just runs the ball, throws a bomb to a max deep receiver. And if you have a pretty good defense, it works. And I was going to play Byron's ball. So I wasn't going to have a good quarterback. I was going to have a good defense. I'm very confident in my defense and my coaching on that side of the ball. I know I could get a decent, but I had to get a decent running back card. That's why I went for Okoye, and then I blew it when I got too cute with the return game and took the Detroit receivers over Cincinnati, thinking I could take Denver's return unit and grab Vance Johnson, not realizing that probably half the league said, I'll take Denver's return unit with Vance Johnson as a split end, and I'll pair it with one of these wide receiver groups. I've got split end flanker ratings here that have a weak split end and a good flanker. And you had teams like Buffalo with Andre Reed and even Miami a little bit, and the Jets with JoJo Tanzel, and Green Bay certainly with Sterling Sharp, and down with Dennis and then with Pittsburgh, where the split end was awful, but Louis Lipp is good. So you take the Denver return unit, you get a pretty good split end. Later on, you take one of these sort of flanker-only units, and you're good to go. I totally overlooked that possibility. And if Brian didn't do it, somebody else would have done it. So I was screwed the moment I took the Detroit receivers. I was trying to maximize my yardage per game for my spreadsheet. Spreadsheets can lead you awry. My normal style is to be more conservative and to say, no, this is the selection I need. I'm taking it. I'm not going to gamble. But I've tried to be a little more aggressive in my offensive coaching and in my roster compilations. Let me go for something really great. And I really, really blew it because I had a good feeling I was going to end up with Vinny, probably taking him earlier than most people because of where he was in Strat's default file. But to make Vinny work, look, Vinny, let's not get carried away. Let's not pretend like he's, Dan Fouts, right? But Vinny's got a lot of interceptions, but he's a really nice long pass wrong card. 1, 5, 10, 15 units of long pass wrong. That's a coach's friend. That's Byron's ball. 15 units of long pass wrong. So what do I need? I need some good long pass wrong receivers. How about Tim McGee and Eddie Brown on the Bengals? Tim McGee's maxed out deep. Eddie Brown's 12-18. That's the second best one, right? So I get a decent running back, Vinny Testaverde. I run, throw deep. And, guys would sit there and just pass. You start running draw plays on them. You make them eventually have to call right. They'll catch you a few times, and then you catch them. You might only need to catch them once or twice. If you had a defense, you could win a game in this era that way, 14-10. And this is what I passed on to get better returners. Are you kidding me? That's a horrible move by me. This is the worst move I made drafting this format ever. And I tried to maximize it. I tried to say, oh, yeah, take a chance. Try to be great. Don't just be settled for good. If I had Christian Okoye and Vinny and these receivers and a real good defense, I'd say, you know what? I can do pretty well with that team. I'm going to make that team be a top 4 team. Now I'm in the middle of the pack. There's a greediness. Oh. Killing myself here, Butch. Very bad. Brian says the Aikman deep pass card almost sucked him in. Must run one pass card right there. I love the end run card. I played with that card back in the day. My brother and I used to play dice and cards. And I liked that end run. I was younger. We didn't have end run limits. Dennis is wide open. Dennis gets mad if I bring this up. Don't get mad, Dennis. Don't get mad. Get even. No, don't get even either. Do neither. Neither get mad nor get even. I could have sworn Dennis has referred to it as a wide open rule set. Anything goes, he says. That's right. Anything goes. Anything goes. Except, of course, for the nickel defense. Unlimited running back usage. Unlimited quarterback end run. Playing your split end at flanker. Oh, my God. God forbid. Although, other than that, anything goes. Anyway, look at the end run card for Aikman. 6-7 kid, 8 plus 24, 9 plus 22. And that long pass is dangerous, man. 1-5. This back when Strat would give a good long pass wrong card for no reason to a guy who's drafted very highly like Jeff George, even though his stats always didn't really bear it out. 1-5, 10, 14 long pass wrong. But those picks are just prohibitive. That's why Troy was buried in my rankings and buried in the on the draft board of all the guys picking. But I digress. Now you know why my shows go so long. I've been on for probably over an hour, and I don't think I've even started the first pick of the draft yet. So, so these are the things I look at. So I was going to play Byron when I blew it. So of course I'm talking about my team. My good friend Jay Villing might say, Tom, sometimes Jay's a polite guy from the Midwest. Sometimes maybe you shouldn't spend quite too much time on your own team. He's right. You're right, Jay. You're right, Jay. And you beat me in the Super Bowl with the rookie Mike Lennon card. That's supposed to be my revenge game from the playoff game. You beat me 7 years earlier when I had David Garrard. I finally got a chance to get revenge, and I lose to Mike Lennon. I had Peyton Manning and Marshawn Lynch. That's the type of coach Jay Villing is. He outcoached me in that game for sure. So when you see him coming on the calendar, don't try to quick click. Pay attention. Okay, so I analyze the set. I look at my tiers. I look at the fullback tight end groups. I look at what I can live with. Like what you can live with is so huge. There's not that many really good running cards. So if I don't get Bo, Neil Anderson, Barry, Rod Bernstein, Thurman, Jane Brooks, Dalton, once you get below like Dalton, Hilliard here, now you're in questionable territory, right? And I'm sorry that I love it. I love Eric Dix as a player. I was a huge fan, but that card is decent, but it's not a great card. The in-game fumble number is high as well. We went down with Bentley. That's fine, But Eric was 6th to 5. But I only had him with the 16th quality card. But then if you look at the number 1 backs, he's up to number 7 because he's got the attempts as well. So can't overlook that. I do overlook it though. I'd rather not draft a guy that highly. If a guy rockets up the chart here from 16 on my rankings as a number 2 running back to 7 because of attempts, I'm not taking him very, very highly because I got better off waiting and getting like Washington or the Jets, where I'm getting like 2 guys who end up having more attempts than, let's say, Dickerson. Just in this example, it could be any running back. I'm just saying Dickerson for this set. Who end up having more attempts than Dickerson, and who I get much later in the draft. I mean, I run his spine with a better card than Eric Dickerson by quite a bit. Probably because of the receiving, though. So that's misleading too. I got to pay attention to the yards per rush. Rabine is 3.8, Dickerson is 3.9. So again, these numbers are not set in stone. But anyway, the quality of the card is similar enough when you factor in Joe Riggs, even though I don't like his card. The big difference is you got to take Dickerson in the top 20, and you get Washington went in the late 2nd round, so I would have thought maybe 3rd round for Washington, and the Jets hung around for a long time, early 4th round. You can take the Jets as a fullback tight end with Mickey Schuler and Johnny Hector, or as a halfback to get Hector and McNeil. So you could kind of go either way there. Michael went for the halfback route, which I don't blame him for. You can go either way. Well, I think I'd rather probably get the Jets in the 4th round than the Colts in the high 2nd. And one of the problems with this Colts unit is Albert Bentley is the best tight end in the unit. So once you start, but he's got a pretty good running card that you want to use. So once you, or as a blocking back. So once you put Albert Bentley in the backfield, you have no tight end. Nobody worth throwing to anyway. And you can't get another one. So I thought this was interesting. I think maybe you take the Colts as the halfback unit, right? Because then you get Dickerson and Bentley anyway, don't you? Does Bentley have both on the card? I'm not sure. Let me look at this. I knew at the time, but it's been a couple of weeks since I prepared. And it's been a while since Albert Bentley was on my radar because he went high in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, he has halfback on the card. So you took the Colts halfback unit instead of the fullback tight end, and you get Bentley and Dickerson anyway. And then bang, I still have my tight end unit to get a real tight end. Bentley can play tight end or block him back. I would have liked that approach better with the Colts. And those are things to think about. And we all make mistakes, but I made a horrible mistake. Took the Detroit receivers to get those returners. I should have taken the Bengal returners, receivers, and stayed with average returners. That's going to hurt me all year long. It's going to hold my team back big time. Dennis is not going to pity me when I'm rolling Robert Clark out there as my split instead of Tim McGee. because there'll be no fear factor. You have Vinny and Tim McGee. People have to respect that. You respect that, it opens up other things for my offense, and I'll get some hits on you by playing Byron's ball. So let's look at the draft. By the way, I know I do the shows and act like I'm an expert in this and that. I know the game pretty well. I'm not the best coach out there. There are definitely better coaches out there. I would say Dennis and Jay better than I am, I would say. I think I'm in that next group, though. I think I'm pretty good there, so I'm comfortable with that. And I'm playing a lot, and I'm trying to rethink things at times, so whatever. All right, so starting off, Paul S. New Paul. Paul Manco has not played these in a couple of years, I don't think. But Paul, he took Joe Montana for a San Francisco quarterback. You know, it's interesting. Who's going to be the first pick in the draft? I don't, for me, though, I can't have a problem. You take the best quarterback, I guess, number one overall. For me, the way the set played out, though, I think the running back was the way to go. Strat is not pro football. It tries to be like pro football. It tries to be, what do they call it? A simulation of pro football, but it's not pro football. So quarterback in a vacuum is the most important position. But in this rule set, I think I'd rather have a great running back and a mid-level quarterback than a great quarterback and a mid-level running back. Dennis agrees with that. You'll see Dennis taking running backs high way more than you see him taking quarterbacks high. Way more. He always prioritizes getting a good running back in the first 2 or 3 rounds. Always. Pretty much every single draft. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but he's pretty good. I mean, so look, anyone can do what they want. Anyone has their own thoughts. And you have your own philosophy, your own opinion. But sometimes you look what the best guys are doing, but you got to figure out why they're doing it. But if they do it every single time, there's something to it. So if Dennis is taking a good running card every single time in the top 2 or 3 rounds, maybe you should say, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I should consider doing that. Make sure you get a good one. Don't say I need a running back and take someone who's not that good just because he's 6th in the set, or something like that. Or Rick Byron prioritizes excellent pass defense. Maybe if I have a route to excellent pass defense, I should pursue it. He has won 2 of the last 3 titles with Vince Ferragamo as quarterback 1 year. Tom pursues good pass defense. Maybe that's important. I won 1985 with Bobby Hebert. So I'm just saying, look what these guys are doing. There's no substitute for coaching in Strat football. I would always rather face a mid-level coach with a good team than a good coach with a mid-level team. It's just that coaching is that important in Strat-O-Matic football. Of course, luck matters. There's going to be games where I say about 10% of the games, maybe slightly more, luck is the ultimate factor, right? But in the other 90% of the games, coaching, I think, is more important than personnel to a degree, right? If you're taking, the 1982 Colts who were like 08-1, and some guy is a bad coach and you give him the 85 Bears, well, yeah, I'd rather the Bears. But I mean, that's that's about as extreme of a disparity in personnel as you can get. So if you think your team is decent and you're struggling, no one wants to admit it. Maybe my coaching is not that great. So where can I improve as a coach? Watch the YouTube videos of the playoff games. Bring up those teams in your league manager. Look them over. Why is this guy doing this? Why is this guy doing that? These leagues, this battle royale and the summer sprint, tremendous coaching proving grounds, tremendous place to sharpen your coaching. But again, that's in this rule set. That's in the 80s style Strat rule set. No dump off, no white die 6. It's a totally different game than the modern rule set. So you can't take all these lessons, Michael, I'm talking to you. You can't take all these lessons from the 1980s rule set and go to 2017 SSFA and say this is going to work here. It's not. It's a different animal. Totally different things to prioritize. I mean, the flat pass with the white die 6 versus no white die 6 is huge. Throwing short pass, hoping for dump offs in an environment with very little pass rush is a lot different than throwing short passes in that 1985 where your quarterback's going to get killed or throw an interception. It's just a different animal. So for the modern game, I mean, look, if you like the game, join a couple of leagues. Everyone's got a life to live, but if you want to get better, join a couple of leagues. Try and find some modern leagues with the modern rule set. Play these leagues for the old rule set, and you'll improve over time. Everyone does. I mean, there's a guy in one of my leagues who, like 6 or 7 years ago, he was not a good coach. And over the last 3 or 4 years, he's gotten a lot better. And now he's making Super Bowls and doing everything. So it takes time for some guys. Other guys, it happens quickly. Dennis told me that when he first came online, he was a bad coach, and he's the best coach now. So, it can happen. But, I'll tell you something else. A lot of guys don't want to hear this. But in my opinion, I've been playing online since the first online season, which was 2000. If you find yourself complaining about luck a lot, okay, what I have found is, from my opinion, from playing against guys, and I played against just about everybody, if you've been online for at least 3 years, I've probably played you a whole bunch of times. The guys who complain of luck the most tend to be the guys who are not the best coaches, in my view. Of course, luck matters. Of course, luck can kill you. Of course, luck can sink or swim. You will lose playoff games because of luck. If you're lucky, you'll win playoff games because of luck. You will win and lose regular season games because of luck. I always look at it this way. Every season, there's like one game that I win, like no matter what. A chimpanzee could have been clicking the mouse and he would have won the game because the luck is that bad. Punt return fumbles for the other guy, interception return for me, snap fumble when he's going 4th and 1, flat pass wrong, no men. Receiver the only incompletion on a big third down on wrong. Why am I guessing pass run on third down? But you get the idea. Just everything goes against it. Dreaded 5 all day long. Everything goes against him. I'm running, I'm hitting every double box. I'm getting, plus 48 short pass 2 of my fullback. Whatever. He has no chance. And that's going to happen the other direction too. You're going to have your no chance game. You're going to have your 5 turnovers game. Your punt return fumble, you missed field goal, whatever it is. So you're going to win a game that way. You're going to lose that game away every regular season. Every other game, luck will play a role, but your coaching will probably play more of a role, and the personnel of your team. I just feel like the guys who play the coach the most, complaining about luck the most, generally aren't the best coaches. And you got to show some resilience. Like I was playing a guy. I forget who I was playing. Like you can play certain guys, and it's 10-7 in the second quarter. You're beating him 10-7 middle of the second quarter. He throws an interception at the 50. Oh, here we go. I'm like, dude, this is in my head. I'm like, here we go. I'm up by 3 points. You don't know what's going to happen the next 2.5 quarters. You got to man up. You got to toughen up. You got to coach through adversity. If I'm losing 10-7, I throw a pick at the 50. I'm annoyed, but I know that as annoyed as I am, if I can try and hold him to a field goal, if I can make him go 3 and out, if I can be patient on offense, even if I go down 17-7, I can get back in the game. So unless you're getting blown out through 3 quarters, it's basically always about a score and a stop, or a stop and a score, right? I'm down 21-7. He's got the ball. I need a stop and a score. I'm down 21-7. I got the ball. I need a score and a stop. So that's all you got to think is those 2 ways: score and a stop and a score. And don't give up on the running game if you have a decent running team. Or in this era, you get down 21-7. Okay, I don't like to sound like I'm tooting my own horn or patting myself in the back, especially since it's a game I lost. We watched the Battle Royale Super Bowl game between me and Aaron, a game I lost 27-24. Okay, he was beating me 21-0 with this rule set in the early second quarter. 21-0. What did I do? Did I sit back there and start launching bombs with no dump off and no I die 6? No, I kept running. I ran the ball. Got a first touchdown. So now 21-7 mid-second quarter. What do I need? I need a stop and a score. I was able to stop him because I have a good defense and the rules favor the defense. I got the ball back. What do I do? Run the ball. Throw a pass. Caught him off guard. Caught him guessing run. Caught him with no minute flat pass because I was in running over there. Get a big 13-yard play or something to keep the drive going. Scored another touchdown, 24. I took the lead in the third quarter, 24-21. Was I annoyed down 14-0 in the Super Bowl with a 13-14 that was giving up 13 points a game during the year? when he's hitting all these double boxes running from the 3 wide. Yes, I was very annoyed. Was I annoyed when he hit a defender X long game for a touchdown to go 21-0? Or in the second quarter, when like the first time all game, I moved my safety out of the zone. Yes, I was annoyed at myself. And I was 21-0. But I said I'm not. But I said I'm annoyed right now, and I'm probably going to lose because it's 20-0. You're probably going to lose. But if I start thinking the game's over, it will be over, unless I get incredibly lucky, launching bombs with no dump off. Guess right every play. So you just gotta show some resilience. Dennis is awesome at that. Part of it is because Dennis is just an optimistic guy, and many of us aren't. Many of us are always waiting for the shoe to drop. But Dennis is an optimistic guy. When Dennis is losing, he's annoyed, but he's like, all right, I got to stay in there. I got to get it. He just stays like that bulldog mentality. I'm just going to get after it. That's how Dennis is thinking. And of course, he loses games. But there are so many coaches that I play. And I can understand how it happens where the guy has not had a lot of success. And like once it starts going against him, he just caves. And he just stops trying as hard as he can on offense. So starts throwing passes every play. Stops moving guys around the defense. Gets angry. So like free safety blitzes on 2nd and 7 and brings everyone because he's just mad. Maybe they'll get a sack. You gotta still coach. Coach, you gotta still coach. You will win. So you will win more than a few games just by staying with it, even when it's going against you. It's hard to do. We all get pissed off. But that's a lesson from Uncle Tom here on Monday night, 11:15, as we get to the draft. So the picks again. So we'll do the first round, and then we're going to do a part 2. Who knows? All right. So if I had the first pick, and I'm not saying that you should do what I do, I should have taken Neil Anderson. I had Neil, Barry as my first 2 backs. Bo, I would have taken ahead of Okoye. Again, this is a formula thing. I love Bo's card, but only 17 attempts. Neil Anderson, 27. So I'm getting, same with Bernstein. Like Dennis was thinking about taking Bernstein when he took Barry. Bernstein only has 10 unfatigued carries a game, I think. That says a 2-back. No, Bernstein more than that. He's got 7, I think, or 6. I mean on his card. He's got maybe 10 unfatigued carries a game. So 12 if you're going to run him at level 1. So you can hit his card, if it's 50-50, you can hit that card 6 times a game. I like Dennis. Barry Sanders has got 27 unfatigued carries. And I know Dennis will run a guy at level 1 at least twice. So do you want 14.5? What do you want each game? Do you want a Barry's rushing card 14.5 times? Or do you want a Bernstein's card 6 times? And when we broke it down, I was like, yeah, I guess there is no contest. But then, but look, the Bernstein card is like unique. So I understand people wanting to use it, But sometimes you got to think of that, of those types of things. But experience creates. It sounds contradictory to what I said before about the carries, but it's within a certain range, and it's with what else are you going to get instead? I mean, if I get Rob Bernstein the first round, Jay took him. Jay knows what he's doing, so God bless him. But I get Rob Bernstein the first round. I'm almost saying I'm gonna get Rob Bernstein. I'm not gonna have a good quarterback, and I'm probably not gonna have a good pass defense. So what does my team look like then? Rob Bernstein, bad quarterback, average pass defense. That's looking shaky to me. So, like, sometimes, after I make this pick, what is my team going to look like in the other very important areas? What am I sacrificing? So, anyway, so for me, I think Neil Anderson I'd probably taken first. I'd probably taken Joe Montana second. I'm not going to argue with somebody to that Joe Montana, the number 1 quarterback in this set, it throws all 3 levels, blah, 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 blah. Very low turnover. The guys that turnovers, that's a bad pick. I'm not going to say that because it's not. And the quarterbacks tend to go first just out of habit, I suppose. It happened in 1980. I think I got Earl Campbell second, which was I was the beneficiary of that. Good top running card with a decent quarterback, mid-level quarterback, usually works better than top quarterback card with the mid-level running back in this rule set. Might be the opposite in the modern seasons. I'm not sure. But in this rule set, that's how I feel. Because also in these retro seasons, the top running cards are really good. Like Todd Gurley might have had the top running card in 2017. I mean, but his card did not look. like this. Todd Gurley, he probably the top running card in the current set, right? His card does not have this wrong column that Barry Sanders has. I play that Gurley card is fine, it's good, but this is what older school card looks like, right? Who has a Bo Jackson card in the 2017 rule set? Kareem Hunt? I don't think so. Look at this. Look at this. I'm running wrong. 8, 9, 10 short gain. 11 plus 20. 12 plus 92. A 2 long gain. I mean, come on. Who's the other guy? Neil Anderson. Oh, I love this Neil Anderson card. Not only because it ran for 320 yards against me when I was a teenager playing my brother with it. He did it to me, not to me to him. But I know the 7 no yards linebacker is a killer. But look at this, everyone wrong. Long gain, 620. Look at this. You want to generate run calls? You want to throw some passes guessed incorrectly? You want to play Byron's ball? You better respect this everyone column with Neil Anderson's. Or you know what? Let me not get hit with the negatives on the right, or the everyone one man. Let me run off tackle. Nothing wrong with that. 3 plus 59. You're going to hit that. Those 3s get hit. We all know it. And look at the guess right yardage. I mean, come on. You want to play Byron's ball? Get some decent blocking? Run, Neil Anderson. People are going to call run against that card. And then you got Vinny or Chris Miller even with good long pass wrong units. Or, you know, something like that. I mean, that's... Now you're talking. And you can throw your picks with that system. I'm not saying Byron's ball is the answer to everything, but if you're not going to get a good quarterback, Byron's ball is a good option to use. You know, I know Dennis took Dave Krieg. He's a good one, so it's going to make it sound bad, but you know, I'm going to take Dave Krieg and try to play all 3 levels. The staff almost 15. And Dennis will make anything work. So, yeah, but Bobby Hebert, nothing personal there, Michael. So Minnesota Yell 1 second. Look, this is a monster unit. I mean, come on. There is the cool factor. I have all my spreadsheets and my fancy charts and my fancy numbers. But how do you not start salivating when you go 11, 10, 12, 12 with both a 5 and a 9 asterisk? Unfortunately, they alternate, right? And that's crazy. 11, 10, 12, 12. We just said only one team has more than 2 7s, right? Or 2 teams, sorry, Miami and Washington. Only 2 teams have more than 1 7. Kansas City's 3rd, right? They got 26 pass points. I don't want to go with the points completely with the pass blocking. They got 26 pass points. That is 3rd. Behind Miami and Washington. What does the line look like for pass blocking? 5, 5, 4, 5, 7. Minnesota will destroy that. 11, 10, 12, 12. And then you're going to get some animal linebacker because everyone's got a 12 here. And you're going to try and block that with a bunch of 5s and a 7. Good luck, my friend. So you can see in a hurry, I know Minnesota's got the best line. There's a lot of the good pass rushing units out there. You can see in a hurry why this sort of line is so formidable. And not only that, but against the run, you get the 4, 5, 6, 6. People want to go blocking back and run behind a strong left side. I got a couple of 6s there. And you're going to get the good almost guaranteed if you stay in that 4-3. Right? Minnesota with the good. That's like a guarantee. Look at this. I always look at that. What's my guarantee for good? Bang. I could take freaking Houston's linebackers. They're off the chart, beyond 18. I'm good against the run. The worst one, like Philly. It's like 24 or something. I'm good against the run. And that 4-3 good against the run in these draft league defenses is good. It works very well. And in a set where there's some real good running cards on top and then a big drop-off, you're going to play some good run defense with a 4-3 that's a good, and you kind of just stand around in it. You call run occasionally. I'm not a believer in this rule set of never calling run, but you call run occasionally, but you don't, you can stand around a lot and call run and be successful there. You don't have to call a lot of run either. Those 4-3s are tough. The 4-3 good against the run is tough, and they bring all that pass rush. So they might have some trouble running it. They want to start throwing some passes. You're guessing pass. They can't block. You're probably going to get good linebackers because there's a ton of good linebacking units in this group, and Michael did that. But now to make them pay, you got to use a free safety blitz. It's a failing in the strat game, but you bring that free safety blitz with one linebacker or two linebackers. Let's say even one. I'll let them play whack-a-mole on the flats. It's an FP right, and you got 2/3 of the zones covered. And take your shot, bro. Take your shot deep against me. And I will take my shot with these animals coming after your quarterback. And I will plant his face in the grass. So I had 76 sacks with the 1985 Chicago defensive line in that summer sprint. And I did an awful lot of free safety blitzing, I can assure you. It works, Mr. Reeves. Hope you're listening. Michael, don't take this the wrong way. I love Michael. He's a great guy. And he's only been online a few years, and I've been helping with coaching. Michael, you may be the most poorly equipped coach in this entire league to use that Minnesota defensive line. Because Michael likes to play, doesn't like to take chances, which I understand. If he's got the good ratings and the good card, he doesn't want to move around too many guys in defense, which I understand. And this defense will still do a good job anyway. But to justify that pick and to make it play dominant, you got to free safety blitz and get after that quarterback sometimes. Doesn't mean you do it every play. But you got to do it more than 4 times a game. You will scare people with this. Use that fear to your advantage. Now he's going to try it, and he's going to free safety blitz and call run and get burned. And Tom, I give him an 83-yard touchdown on a sniper scope. Well, there's a feel to it. There's an art to it. There's a lot of nuance to managing that free safety blitz. Watch Dennis Crowley videos from games he's played because he uses it like a magician. Dennis Crowley, Dan Morin uses it maybe a little too much. They're on fire. Maybe same with Nathan a little bit. Dennis, I think, uses it masterfully. Paul Mankiewicz, when he uses it, also uses it masterfully. But you got to do it. You got to do it. If I play you, he says he's taking notes of me. Like when I play you, I want you free safety blitzing me. You're going to kill me with it because I can't block. But I want to be. If I'm not getting free safety blitz, or if I'm not getting free safety blitz and I beat you, you're going to hear about it. I'm just telling you that much. My team's not that good, so you should be beating me up with that free safety blitz. Oh, of course, your offense is another question. So, whose isn't? And that's one thing with this league. 18 out of 28. We're talking about the awards. I mean, who has a good offense and good defense? Raise your hand. Some of these offenses are not going to be that good. But they got a couple of guys who pour against the pass. So, that works out for the rest of us. Michael says, after our call, I reeled off 9 straight. That's true. 1980, last summer sprint. Michael started off 1-2 or something like that. And I said, well, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I said, let me watch your game. I watched 2 of his games. He lost both of them. And I told him what he's doing wrong. We had 2 coaching clinics on the phone, I think, for about 20 minutes each. And then he won 7 straight games. Then he's getting cocky. Oh, I got this game. Michael, come on. Show a little humility here. You were buried at the bottom of the standings. I know you're feeling it, but, a little humility. So, but every team is different. You can't do the same thing. Give me a thumbs up. You can't do the same thing every team, every league, every rule set, Brian saying he screws up and took Jaworski over Earl Campbell. Lesson learned. There you go. Because these top running back cards are just so good back, and you just can't pass first in this area. You just can't, unless you get a Marino or Fouts type of card and a bunch of 7s. But that's not often going to happen. And it can happen sometimes because the offensive lines will often last into the second round. It's not often you get an offensive line. Matter of fact, I don't remember ever getting an offensive line in the first round before. Usually the best one will go in the second, usually. And then some get sprinkled in throughout the third and fourth. Doesn't mean it won't work. I'm just saying what usually happens. So this was interesting with Keith Mowbray. So Minnesota DL is an animal unit, right? We'll see what Michael can do with on defense. You'll be able to play great defense. He's good. Corner fours, but so what? Corner fours don't hurt as much in the past year as they do now. Corner fours kill you in the modern game with the draft league defenses. In the modern game with the modern rules, with the dump off, because you already gave the offense so much help with the dump off of the white day 6. Now you got the corner floors to worry about. It's harder to flood the flats of corner floors. There's safety. So Keith Oubre goes third. I've been playing against Keith for many years now. Keith loves the big fancy offense and the big explosive cards. So he took Bo Jackson third overall over Neil Anderson. And I have Bo's card as better than Neil Anderson's. But Neil had so many more carries. 27 unfatigued to 17. 10 more unfatigued carries, so 5 more rolls on that card. Plus Neil can receive. Bo can't receive. Bo may know football, but he doesn't really know receiving. Now he's not as lead-handed as Okoye or Campbell in 1980. He catches a short pass a little bit, but Neil Anderson is more like your traditional running back who can do both, right? So he's very fine short pass receiving. The flat pass 7 only with the good yardage that we all expect. That's not bad. He even blocks a little bit. He's a 44, so if for any reason you're going to run some 2 tight end or some 3 wide, or you want to save a carry with Neil and you go block him back fullback and he's a blocking back. He still helps you out a little bit with that too. So I had him over Bo for those reasons. Even though I love Bo's card, we all love Bo. We all love Bo and we all love his card. I still had Neil over him. And so to me, number 3 overall was high for Bo. I wouldn't have taken him there. I would have, as a matter of fact, I would have taken Barry over him despite the high fumble. Certainly would have taken Neil over him, and I would have taken a couple quarterbacks over him, like Jim Everett. Jim Everett certainly, and Montana was already gone. But Bo's got a great card, so we'll see what happens. See, there you go. Now Joe Golden, this guy has been to 3 Super Bowls, like 3 of the last 5 in like Battle Royale Summer Sprint, or 3 of the last 6, whatever. He keeps losing them, but he keeps getting there. And he did not take a quarterback 4. Did not take a halfback 4, although I would have taken Neil Anderson. We took the best pass defense unit, one of the best pass defense units, 21-point Kansas City with the corner 6s. I probably would have taken Pittsburgh to get the kick return bump in there. Also 21 units to live with the corner 5. No 4s at least, but 66 corners is great with a safety 5. You're not going to complete a lot of long passes against that, especially when he's calling pass a fair amount, which we all do. But he takes that 21 because he knows you can mail it in terms of getting it good. In a 4-3, that's almost an automatic good. In a 3-4, it's pretty much an automatic good. So now if he wants to, he can take it easy with the linebacking core for a while if he chooses to. And indeed, he didn't take a linebacking core until the 5th round. And average versus run, good against the pass is still not bad. I don't mind that at all, especially someone like me. I call a lot more run and defense than most coaches. And in this era, I think you have to call some run and defense. But in this era, even though the running game is stronger, average and good is fine. I have no problem with that. So I had no problem with that pick. I would have taken Neil Anderson, but I had no problem with that pick. Miami offensive line, Anthony is here in the studio audience with us. It's his first. I don't know Anthony. It's his first time playing with us. I was surprised at that selection. I felt it was very high. I know that I just said no one has pass blocking, but then I'm saying, well, what does the pass blocking get you? The pass blocking only works if you have a really good quarterback. And in this set, where I think most people would have said there's only about eight or 9 guys that we all liked, Montana through Majkowski. If you don't get one of those 8 guys, there's 8 of them. If you don't get one of those 8 guys in the second round, if take Miami 5 overall, now I've got all this great pass blocking, but for who? And I have to end up with Randall Cunningham. So, which is interesting actually when you think about it, because normally I love getting great pass blocking when I have a good must-running quarterback, because Randall's low turnover, because these must-runs will give me good yardage normally. Randall, I was so surprised though. Average 6 yards a carry. And quarterbacks who average 6 yards a carry or better tend to get really good must-run cards, but Randall only has 2 to 4, 10 yards or more. 2 to 7 is 7 yards or more, but this is not a vintage must run column. 2 to 6, 10 yards or more is what I expect from Randall Cunningham. And he's had some other cards like that. He's got the great end run. A low interception. And again, he had to live with what was there. But, it's going to, I don't know if I wouldn't, since Anthony's listening, if he's listening, what if you type in Anthony? If you knew that you were not going to get one of the better quarterbacks, if you knew you were going to end up with someone from that lower tier, like half of us did, would you still have taken the Miami offensive line in the number 5 overall? I'm curious about that, number 1. And number 2, do you like Randall's must run ability as a plus when, to take advantage a little bit of that good pass blocking? So see if Anthony has a chance to type that in if he's still listening. I'll be curious about those things. It's good to hear from some of the other coaches. And move on down the road a little bit. Dave Padgett took Jim Everett. Jim Everett is classic. Well, we saw Rick Barnes himself took Dan Marino later on, but Jim Everett is classic Byron's ball. And this guy is. Look at this long pass column. 789. He's got 18 units of long pass wrong. I'll let that sink in. He has 18 units of long pass wrong. He's got 13 on right. He's got 12 on right. Okay? 12-18 long pass. 12-18 long pass. Now, if you ended up taking a quarterback later in the draft, all right, like Dave Krieg, he's emblematic of those bottom half of the group guys that we all stuck with. He's got 2, 6, 11, 14, 15. He has 11, 16 short pass. Jim Everett is better at long pass than Dave Krieg is at short pass. Okay? 12-18 to long pass for Everett, 11-16 short pass for Craig. So, yeah, that's a quarterback quad I'll take over a good pass defense. Yes. I mean, you have to guess a lot of pass against this. You have to do some double covering or some blitzing. And that's really going to open up a lot of running. I get a mid-level running back. I'm going to run. I'm going to run. And take some shots when you finally say, God damn it. His shitty running backs are getting 5 yards a carry. He's running draw plays. They're calling pass. They can't even bring up the linebacker. Damn it. Let me give one run call. Boom. Now, of course, not every run call is going to be met with a long pass. That'd be some hellacious coaching, and it can't happen. We've all seen it happen. But, so that Jim Everett card is fearsome. I'm surprised Keith didn't take it, actually. He loves throwing the bomb. Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's David Padgett, who's a very good coach. I've been playing him for one time. Doesn't always get there in these leagues, but he knows what he's doing. And he gets James Brooks in the second round. Oh. Now, James Brooks has a really high fumble. You just saw Jim Everett's card with all that long pass acumen. And, I'm going to call pass because of Jim Everett. And I'm going to give this end run wrong to run out with James Brooks. 2 long gain, 3 plus 28, 11 plus 65, 12 plus 30, and hardly chunky because there's short gains in there and plus 5 and plus 6. But you're worried I'm going to blitz the end run on linebackers? You're going to run off tackle draw off wrong. Look at this. Very solid, very fine. 1, 3, 8, 13 units of short gain and better. Plus 9, plus 7, plus 6 mixed in there. 6.5 pass blocking. No, 5.4 this year pass blocking. Doesn't catch as well as he usually does. Talk about quarterback running back combo. Oh my God, he's got Jim Everett and James Brooks. I'm certainly not as excited about my Vinny selection in the 8th round or whatever the hell it was. So that's awesome. And I'm surprised James Brooks slipped though because of the high fumble. So, and not the most amount of attempts in the world. So, cancel. Sometimes it's like it makes sense for the guy to slip, but then for your team, it works out tremendously. It doesn't happen, but sometimes it happens. I had him as the number 8 one back, and I had him as the number 6 best running and receiving card. So, like, I had him right behind Thurman, but I think I might rather have Brooks. If I had Jim Everett, I'd probably rather have Brooks. I mean, that team's got big play written all over it. In an era where it's hard, in a rule set where it's hard to get the offense going, that's going to be something to deal with. Then Brian got Neil Anderson, number 7. I waxed poetically on him before. I love Neil Anderson's card. I love it. I think it's a really strong, solid card. I think the fumbles are pretty low, 18.1, a little higher than you like, but it's not in Barry's territory, 46.1. Which is really bad, but his card is so good. He still ended up there in my math. I love the Anderson card. In this rule set, if you can get a workhorse back who's good, right and wrong. He's got the positive yardage and the big runs on the edges and the short gains. He can catch respectively. I mean, that's what you can base your offense on. You have to generate run calls. And that card will certainly generate run calls. And that makes whatever lousy quarterback you ended up with look better. They got Chris Miller, I think, right? Unfortunately, Chris Miller can't throw flat at all. So the line can be crowded. But if they're going to crowd the line and call pass, you can run some draws. Much harder to run a draw play with a very good back because he's going to generate run calls. So you got to watch out for that. The better your back is, the less often you should be running draw plays. Certainly not on first and second down. Third and long is different. But Miller's at least got the good bombs. So you could see some Byron's ball from Dr. Brian. And what do you get for receivers? I got the Raiders receivers. Now you're talking. Byron's ball. What do you got for a fullback? New Orleans, Ironhead. He's a super high fumble. He don't get in the ball. Oh, but the other guy, Buford Jordan, he's got a good card. So you got plenty of attempts. You can run the ball 40 times a game, which you're going to want to. Chris Miller's your quarterback. And take shots to these Raider receivers. Swervin Mervin Fernandez and the track star Willie Gault. Mervin's maxed out deep, 21, 15-21 with the 8, 9, 10 long gain that I passed on with Tim McGee like an idiot. And Willie Gault only averaged 24.8 to carry, 24.6 a reception. If I recall, he's fairly swift. 1-4-8, 14-8. He's got the 12-18 deep. So number 2 receiver land. I know he's got all the incompletions at short pass. Well, don't throw the short pass. A little long pass. 12-18. Look at it. 15 units of long gain or better on wrong. Mike, you can see why I'm not as impressed with the Phoenix receivers and JT Smith. This is just not going to scare anyone. Mr. Reeves. Wish I could put them side by side. Show you Willie Gault's long. Show you Mervin Fernandez's long pass. That's a Raiders number 1 receiver. And JT Smith's long pass. You want to free up the flats, Michael? Have long pass capability. Ernie Jones is decent at it, but I mean, Bobby Hebert's card to Ernie Jones is not really going to set the league on fire, I don't think. So I'm liking it. I was going to go to the first round. I got to wrap this up soon. I'm probably going to just do the first round and then try to do a whole thing tomorrow, or maybe fold it into the season preview when Dennis has the file out. But you got to think about how your team works together as well. And you have a great running back card in Neil Anderson's. He gets a real good offensive line with the Rams. He gets a fullback with carries with the Saints. Right? So they can't key Anderson as easily. And you can run it those 40 times if you'd like. Certainly 37 times. 36, 37. And you get the Raiders receivers perfect. His tight end can even block. So it doesn't mean it's not going to work every game. And yes, you're going to throw picks. And yes, you're going to throw sacks. But as a theory, as a philosophy, it works pretty well. And when you're not going to get a good quarterback, that's you got to try something. And a lot of guys, and normally, like I was telling Michael, a lot of guys will say West Coast. Anthony, I think I had a message on the phone. Okay. Paired the Miami JLW with Cunningham and the Houston WR. He agrees that Cunningham's paired the Miami offensive line, that's supposed to say, with Cunningham and the Houston wide receivers. This was Anthony took Miami offensive line number 5 role we were talking about. He agreed with the Cunningham must-run yards are good but not great, but his must-run chances are the key. Behind that line, he can fire away and rack up first downs with success. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gets right with the low INT. Once he gets run and lower the success percentage of the short pass, that's where the Houston wide receivers come in, and they are very good. Obviously, they're running a lot of 3 wide, 2 running back to help defend against aggressive double team wide receivers. Subtle complementary strategy, giving his inside running with no tight end. So Anthony has an approach that he hopes is going to work. I do think one problem is just the ability to double team a couple of receivers. There's so many 3-4 defenses here. You can drop a linebacker and a safety and double two-thirds of the better receiving targets usually, and take away those must runs. They get nullified by the double team, which is a failing in the strat game. I've emailed Glenn Guzzo about that. They should have must run to the double team column. It's Russell Wilson dropped back to pass. 2 of my receivers are double teamed. I will now be less likely to run. No, he'd be more likely to run. At least give him some double teams in the some must runs in the double team column. So anyway, Anthony's going with he's got an approach. We'll see what happens. I still don't like the Miami OL that high. Personally, that's my view, but we'll see what happens. I like the Green Bay linebackers, that's for sure. As Anthony gave us some feedback there, I was reading that to you. Those are his thoughts on what he's going to do. Miami offensive line sets up the pass blocking. Randall Cunningham has the must runs in the card. The must runs are going to get you the positive yardage. +7 or better, 2 to 7. We'll see. His flat pass isn't actually that terrible for a guy that completed such a poor percentage and has so few short pass wrong completions. So that'll be, we'll watch to see how that works out for him this year. I like what I see from Ryan's team so far. That good running card sets up a lot. Now we go down to number 8, and I probably got to end this show soon and then pick up where I left off tomorrow or Wednesday. But I'll pick off. I talked about a lot of other things. Next time I'll get right into draft stuff only. I'm not going to rehash all that stuff. Then you had 2 quarterbacks going back to back: Cleveland's Bernie Kosar and Cincinnati's Boomer Esiason. And Kosar, I had number 8. I had Boomer 5, and I like Boomer's card. It's an era with a lot of high turnover. So when I get a guy with a good card who's low turnover, I like that a lot. That's why I like Montana as a very high pick. One of the top 2 or 3 picks I'm fine with. I'm not always like that with the quarterbacks. Like in the current set, 2017 Strat set, Matthew Stafford is the number 1 quarterback. And in a battle royale type league, I just wouldn't want him really that highly. I think, but again, there's many more decent quarterbacks to get. Bernie completed 59.1, 2.7 interception percentage. He's got an excellent flat pick. We see like a short pass interception is split on 10. Only 12 units of short pass right. His must run is terrible. Well, not terrible. 273 yards a moment. Uninspiring. So 12, 18 on short pass. And then 7, 11 deep. So to me, that's just not good enough to take a guy 8th overall in this set. Now you might say, "Well, Tom, flat passing works." I'm a huge fan of the flat pass. I love flat passing. I flat pass a hell of a lot. But one problem is in this set, this 1989 set. One thing I look at, I didn't mention it earlier. How many teams are going to play 4-3 versus 3-4? And if you looked at that and tried to figure it out, you'd have learned that out of 18 teams, most likely scenario, 12 teams playing a 3-4. 12 teams playing a 3-4. So if you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round whose main strength is flat passing, you're going to run into 12 3-4 defenses, many of whom have at least 1-6 in the set, if you look at it. And your guy might not be that great deep. I mean, and there's no white die 6. So you're throwing flat passes with one zone's always flooded with 2 guys. If they've got a 6 in one zone, that's a hard zone to throw at. They might be able to bring up the free safety more aggressively. I really don't think a flat pass first approach is going to work season long. There'll be individual games where it works, but I don't think it's going to be an effective season long strategy for success because there's so many 3-4 defenses and they're pretty good. And not only that, if you're throwing a lot of flat passes, you know what the defense is guessing? He's guessing pass almost every play. And you're throwing a lot because the flat, so you can't even. So you can have almost no downfield opportunities guessed wrong because you're throwing so many passes. If there was a different rule set, white die 6. The dump off bailing you out on your short pass right attempts. Yes, I would say yes. And it'll still work in spots. I think it'll still work for some people. But part of my philosophy in terms of how I drafted in this set, and I did a horrible job with the wide receiver unit, so my team's not that good. But I had a good philosophy. I just didn't follow through on it. It was good philosophy. It was bad execution. But it was that there's so many 3-4s and so many good ones. I just don't see flat pass first as a viable option. And Bernie Kosar, with this card, only 12-18 short pass, 7-11 long pass, receptions put on 10. That is not a move that chains offense short long pass. It's a flat pass card. That's going to be tough to get going with that. So we'll see. And then you pair it with the Denver halfbacks, Bobby Humphrey. I don't know. See, Dale's first 2 picks were offense, and they're not that exciting. And forgive me, Dale. So that it could be tough for him. We'll see. Rob Martin, multi-time Somifa League champion from about 10 years ago. To Boomer. See, I like Boomer's card better. I didn't even know he had the damn run there. All right, you run, Boomy. 2 to 8, 6 yards or more. 2 to 9, 4 yards or more on the must run. That elevates this 9 units of must run you get. So Boomer's got the 7 only incomplete flat pass wrong. That does not bother me at all. I really don't think that is that weak. I just use Carson Wentz that way. I don't think it's as weak as people like they lose their shit over a flat. Oh, it's got 7. No one's going to defend the flat pass. What do you mean? It's only 7. Everything else is good. The receiver's usually good. They're blitzing at no man in the zone. I mean, you throw to the running back, he might be uncovered. I'll throw flat passes with a 7 only incomplete, and it works fine. Now you might say, oh, it's only 13 units of short pass right completion, which isn't that bad, but these 9 units of must run, you got it, 2 to 5, 10 yards or more, 2 to 7, 7 yards or more. You got to give some kind of credit for completions in there. That's 9 units of it. If you want to give them a third, which would be 12 units, that's another 3 units. So it's probably a little less than that you would count as a completion. That gets them up to like 60, almost 16 completions short pass right, which is good. Interceptions put on 11, only 2 to 4 and 12. So that's pretty damn good in this year. And they guess wrong. 4, 9, 15, 17, 18, 19 is acceptable. And Boomer is always known for having going deep out of the Bengals, right? 8 long pass right, but the must runs to help. And 14 long pass wrong. 14 long pass wrong is good. 13 long pass wrong is good. So I like the Boomer card because it can throw in all 3 levels. It's not bad with the interceptions. It can throw short pass right in the red zone on 3rd and 10, and it can beat you long pass wrong pretty nicely. It's a well-rounded card. I like it way better than Kozar's card. I had Boomer 4th overall. I had Marino and Rippon. Kozar a few spots lower. So that's mathematically, but also strategically, this card plays better. I want to. You see it more than modern set. I want a quarterback who can throw all 3 levels, flat, short, long. I don't want to give you that quarterback where you just move your safety all the time because he's Chad Pennington. You know, that type of guy. I like Chad Pennington, and you can win with that in the modern era, but in the modern rules, this is not the modern rules. Even the modern rules, I want to throw all 3 levels, so at least you make it easier, right? If you're a little more scared of my bomb, you might not be double teaming as aggressively with that safety. If you're just saying, "Oh, I'm going to extract the bomb," and now the opposite way, if you have Chris Miller, who can't throw flat very well, and someone had to get him, so don't blame yourself, Brian. Then the guy can double team, drop the linebackers back a little more easily. He can blitz a little more easily. Doesn't mean the guys are doing this 100% of the time, but they're doing it enough to be a pain in the ass to you. If all you can do is throw deep and you can't throw flat. So those are just things I think about. Some things I think about when I look at these cards and I'm preparing for a draft. I'm analyzing cards. So Boomer at number 9, I have a problem with that because you're going to end up with a lousy quarterback otherwise. And I kind of like the Boomer card. I probably gone with the pass. I might not. I might have gone Boomer here. I'm about to take a Barry. Barry is interesting because Barry's got a great running card. I have him 3rd best if carries didn't matter. But Bernstein close behind. But with carries mattering, I had him 2nd best and position mattering. Because I'd much rather have in this particular set, I'd much rather have a good halfback and draft a fullback tight end that has like a real tight end than get a Koye, who I ended up with, and then like I have no tight end. So Barry, this is a very high fumble number, 46.1. A little higher than Eric Dickerson, not as bad as James Brooks, but it's a very high fumble number. Dennis hates that. But by my math, even with the high fumble number, the card is so good, it's worth taking. And those fumbles will hurt you, absolutely. But this running will help you. Both things will happen. So it's always risky. I'm a low turnover guy. Very risky and very uncomfortable using a guy with a fumble number this high, especially as my number 1 back. But with this card in this set, with what else was available, I had no problem with it. I might have taken a little higher. I'm also a huge Barry Sanders fan. I'm trying to let that play a part. Now Dennis made out like a bandit in the draft. It's like, see, sometimes you can prepare and know what you're doing in these drafts. I've been in probably 5 or 6 of them already. But sometimes the breaks happen, things fall to you that you didn't think were going to fall to you. And sometimes the opposite, like I talked about with Butch took Dalton Hilliard 3.13. I was 3.14, the pie pick, and I wanted Dalton Hilliard. If I got that one pick, one slot in the late 3rd round, my whole team would look differently. And it would look more like a team that I was comfortable trying to compete with. But I didn't get it. Butch got it. I see what gleefully remind me when Dalton Hilliard is doing well for him. But Butch got it. And that changed my whole team. Then I screwed myself in the 5th round right here. I took Detroit wide receiver over Cincinnati, which was really, really, really stupid and inexcusable, and is ruined my chances probably at winning the championship this year. So I'm annoyed. I'm going to coach annoyed this year probably. Hopefully I get them over 500 in the playoffs. I've always made the playoffs in summer sprint until this draft selection in the 5th round. So let's see if I can keep the streak going. I'm going to beat myself up in the season preview. I'm harder on myself than I am on anybody else, so there you go. But Dennis, this pick right here in the 5th round, oh, come on. This San Diego KRPR pick was one of the greatest value picks for me coming into this draft. Now don't take that the wrong way. Doesn't mean, that should have been a 1st round pick. No. And no one's taking that unit in the 1st round because it doesn't belong there. But somewhere in the 4th or 5th round, when maybe you've already gotten a couple of defensive units squared away, maybe you've already gotten a quarterback or a halfback. You're on the road. You're on the road with your QB half-B combo and 2/3 of your defense. You're good against something. Then you say, here's a return unit that gives me a maxed out split end. Forget flat pass. I don't care. Okay? It's not the white die 6. I told you everyone's playing the 3-4. Who cares if your receiver is good at flat pass? He's not scaring anyone with a good flat pass and no long pass. It's just not that, you're going to march 70 yards down the field in this rule set on a regular basis with flat passing first. Let me see it happen, because I played 3 of these seasons. I haven't seen it happen yet. To some extent, I can't say that. Michael's happy about it. You average under 20 points a game, Michael. It's not scoring a lot. He had a great defense. But anyway, he ran the offense well. He likes to throw the flat pass. But this, you want to short pass, long pass. The flat pass, it's not going to be that bad. Is this flat pass card horrible? Oh, no. Flat pass wrong, Anthony Miller. I don't want that. It's not horrible. But look at this. I mean, maxed out short pass, maxed out long pass. 5, 11, 14, 15, 21 is maxed out one pass. You get a maxed out receiver as a split end, and you get an above average kick returner, and you get an above average punt returner. Don't sleep on those special teams. This is nice. 24, 17, 9, 11. And this is the defensive error. Guess what? They're going to do a lot of punting. You're going to get these numbers. You're going to be above average compared to the Vance Johnsons of the world. You probably, it's not nearly as good. He does have a plus 17, plus 14. But by the average, and I have spreadsheets for all these things. By the average, Dana Brinson is giving you 6 yards a game above average, right? And the team is giving you 11 yards a game above average. You're getting 11 yards a game above average, so you're much better than the below average. You're getting 11 yards per game above average, and you're getting a maxed out receiver at split end, okay? At split end. So later on, so now you don't have to take a wide receiver group, until really late. And all you need is a flanker. So I'm going to look down. Where are the good flankers? Well, Cincinnati, they're going to go because they have a bad flanker. Okay. Where are the good flankers with a bad split end? Buffalo, Andre Reed. All right, look, I got this as the 12th best receiving group, if you include special teams impact, which is not really a great way to do it, but it's just how I rate them. So, so there's a chance you may do Buffalo, 69 for the flanker. If you look at the card, you'll be like, oh, okay, see, don't remember the numbers. It's a good number. 70 is like elite. 69 is right there. Green Bay is down here. Sterling Sharp is maxed out, short and long. The split end can't catch. They might slip. Maybe you take them later. I get Anthony Miller and Sterling Sharp. Down here, the Pittsburgh with Louis Lips. The split end is awful. Louis Lips is not maxed out. So worst case scenario, I take the San Diego kick return punt return unit, and at the end in round 10, I get Louis Lips. He's not likely to go elsewhere. I take the Pittsburgh wide receivers. This is Philadelphia I'm looking at, because it also begins with the letter P, unfortunately. And Louis Lips, it's not great. He's not maxed out, but he's 1926 with big-time yardage. What was his average? Over 18, I'm sure. 18.9. 1926 with big-time yardage and 12-18 deep. That's your number 2 receiver. That's a high-end number 2 receiver, and you like that. Now you're really threatening both short pass wrong and long pass wrong. Anthony referenced it with Drew Hill's card with the Houston wide receivers. And, a lot of people who aren't used to these draft league receiver cards, receivers aren't that important. Look at these draft league receiver cards. Look at those short pass, long pass columns. Look at all the receiver readings on there. The receivers are important. They are important, I think appropriately important, when you play with the draft league defensive cards. So with that one pick, you're above average in the return game, and you're not above average receiving. You're going to have top flight receiving. Because after San Francisco, with the great Jerry Rice and John Taylor, who's number 2? I had the Raiders number 2 because I value the yardage more. Or whoever you want to put up there, the Rams number 2, whoever you want to put up there, Anthony Miller plus Louis Lips is at least as good. Anthony Miller plus Louis Lips is at least as good as the second best receiving group. So the 49ers go in the second round, late second round. And then in the 5th round, with one selection, I'm getting above average returners and basically a number 2 receiver unit that's just as good. I know it's hard to factor in all the permutations in these drafts, and we're all hurrying to draft. We all get draft frenzy. I certainly lead the way in that. Maybe I don't lead the way, but I'm one of the leaders, one of the ringleaders in that call. But you got to look at those return units and figure out, is there any great value here? Sometimes it's not that obvious. And here was here. And and I know it's hard to see, and the guys will miss it. But you tell me San Francisco went late second round because it's a flip flop, right? And after that, Houston receivers late fourth round, Rams receivers top of the fifth round, Phoenix receivers top of the fifth round, Raiders receivers top of the round. You had 1, 2, 3, 4 receiver units go before this San Diego KRPR. I would have definitely taken the San Diego KRPR over any of those. You want to tell me, what if the third receiver, 3 wide, 1 halfback, is not going to be very successful? Not going to be very successful in general in this rule set in this era. In general, it's it's just the experience has shown that to be true in this rule set in this era. Modern rule set, different story. Now we'll see. Maybe guys can do it. I don't know who's planning on doing it, but do you get these are small things, right? Tom, 10 yards a game. Well, yeah. Why give it up? Why give up the 10 yards a game? You want to start each game with a 10-yard deficit? It doesn't sound very fun. There's only every yard matters, right? Isn't that what they tell the players? So to me, this is a great value pick because you're getting above average returners and you're getting top flight receiving because of the great split end card, and it's very easy. You got to know your units, you got to know your tiers, you got to know what these units are made of. Very easy to get a flanker only really late. Very easy. And that's where I screwed up, not realizing someone will see that with Vance Johnson on the Denver's return unit and do the same thing. And that's how I screwed the pooch with my horrifying Detroit wide receiver pick, for which I should be beaten daily. Okay, maybe every other day. Don't exaggerate. But Dennis, he got that one. He got something else good in there too. The Giants kicking unit in the 9th round. I like that. For the available kicking units that were remaining. Although we should have taken Vinny, Denny's kind of screwed it there. The 7th round is Buffalo fullback tight end. He should have taken Vinny. Because Dennis had Barry. And he's got Anthony Miller and a good flanker. Vinny. Instead, he's got Dave Krieg with his 15.3 snap fumble. Dennis is a great coach. So it almost doesn't matter. You just give Dennis whoever. It doesn't matter. But still. I like Vinny with Barry in that matchup, and he's good defensively. I like that better than Dave Krieg and the Buffalo fullbacks. But I like Barry there, number 10. And that's all positive. Now, Jay, Rob Burnson, I know the card is sick. I know that. But you're only getting 5 or 6 rolls a game on it. And you guys think, well, you just made a big deal about the receivers. Yeah, that was in the 5th round. We're talking about the 11th pick in the draft. So even though Bernstein's card is historically insane, off tackle 7 plus 30. We talked about generating run calls. This will certainly generate some run calls. But only gives you you only hit this card 5 or 6 times a game. How many of those are going to be guessed right? Not only that, when the Bernstein Bear is in there at running back and fullback, who's playing tight end? Because he's the best tight end in the San Diego unit. Not that he's great at it. So now I'm playing with Arthur Cox and his 9.1 average. Ugh. Craig McEwen, 7 receptions in the NFL that year. That's because of good yardage on flat pass. All right. Go for it, Craig. Tight end 4. Jay is a tremendous coach. I'm not going to kill Jay for doing anything. He knows Strat inside and out. Plays dice and cards and tournaments and does well, and plays online and does tremendously. And he just said, you know what the hell? This card is great. What the hell? So that's hard to argue with what the hell logic, right? But if we're going to talk about what's the best picks, there's no way to take Rob Bernstein's card over Warren Moon. There's just no way for me. Personal view, not what the hell view, but all right, I'm actually, what's the best chance of winning? Of course, I kill guys on the show for some of the picks and they win the title. So keep that in mind. But sometimes I pick them to do really well, even after killing the pick. Like I killed Rick for taking Vince Ferragamo over Gary Danielson late in the Adrian, but then I also picked him in the season preview show to one of the top 3 teams because the team was really good anyway, and he's a great coach. Getting coaching trumps all. But I had, like, if I needed to lead back, I had Bernstein not very highly. Mathematically, all the way down here, 23rd, 22nd. Obviously, I was not going to, he wasn't really going to be down there, but I really didn't want much to do with him. I certainly would have taken, I'd rather have Dalton and Hilliard for 30 carries than Rob Bernstein for 14. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Okay. I probably rather have Bernstein. But the point is, I don't think that I don't think he's worth number 12 overall. When I could take Warren Moon or I could take a 21 secondary and guarantee a good, but the card is special. And Jay's a great coach, so we'll see what happens there. Then Rick takes Dan Marino. This is Rick Byron's ball himself. Dan Marino, number 5 overall on my in my ranking, number 5 quarterback. And rarely has a quarterback and a coach been so well paired. Mr. Marino, known for his long ball acumen. Rick Barnes likes the long ball. Chicks dig the long ball. 1, 4, 10, 15, 16. He's got 12, 16. So there's 2 units behind Everett. He's got a lot of picks. 4 picks on right. And he's Dan Marino, so he's pretty good at the other levels. But there was a lot of interceptions. So I don't think I personally was not going to take Marino that highly. I was going to go defense over that, but I know the way Rick likes to play and he works for him. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So, I cannot complain about Rick taking Marino number 12. He knows what he's doing. It works for him. And then what does he do? He gets a running back with a ton of carries in the second round. Why does he need the carries? Because that's Byron's ball. Run, go deep. And if you think that because Rick has Dan Marino, he's going to throw 40 passes a game in this rule set, you're wrong. And if you see him do really, really well, with Marino throwing 27 times a game and then running 36 times a game, maybe you can say, okay, there's something to that. Now, I know Rick wanted better receivers than he got. And that hurts him a little bit. It hurts him a little bit, but he did end up with JoJo Townsell and Anthony Carter. So actually, he might be a pretty happy camper. He took that Jets receiving thing. So he went the other way. He said, okay, I didn't get the receivers. I didn't get the receiving group I wanted. Let me try and put it together through special teams, which tends to hurt your return game, but it could be okay. I tried to do it with Townsell, 1926, 12-18, 17.5 average, so it's a solid number 2 receiver card with a good average. So if you're number 2 receiver, that's fine. And then Anthony Carter, the famous deep threat from the 80s, USFL first, University of Michigan, I believe. 16.4 average. 1926, 136, 12-18. So he's also more like a number 2 card. But that 12-18 long pass with a big average and a big armed quarterback is fine. And people are like, see, you have the wrong impression if you think that Rick's going to stand back there and throw 40 bombs a game. Well, that's what I'm advocating. You're thinking, well, I'm going to get sacks and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. He's not going to sit there and just throw bomb after bomb after bomb and let you pummel his quarterback into the dirt. He got to Washington well, actually. Lasted to the 4th round. So maybe he will do that. So he's got, how many 7s on that line did I say earlier? Was it 3? 1. He's got 3 7s there. Those 7s are dominating. They got him in the 4th round. The 1-7 less than Miami went in the 1st round. So, but this is Anthony's first draft, though. If Anthony had been in another draft, he would have known Miami will probably last, and they would have taken something else probably the 1st round. So there's a learning curve to the drafting as well. And new guys do good. Aaron can do good. Aaron won the 2017 championship to beat me on Saturday. It was his first time in this format. What was I just talking about? Dan Marino. Rick Byron is his receivers, the offensive line. And I wonder if he grabbed a 7 in his fullback unit. Yeah, that gives you 4 7s. Oh, he got I remember that, yeah. I love this San Francisco unit, boy. first of all, the fullbacks, fullbacks generally don't do a lot. They're fullbacks, right? So when I talk about a fullback doing, with a good card, we're comparing to the other fullbacks, not comparing them to Barry Sanders or to Warren Moon, right? But I mean, this Rathman card, he's a 6'7". I showed you all the asterisks, right? There's asterisks as down linemen. There's numerous 12-12 linebackers who will be blitzing heavily. That 7 blocking back is huge, huge. And he's a 6'7", and he already drafted 3 7s in the 4th round. You got the quarterback first. You got to get the quarterback first. You can't throw it downfield all the time because you got 7s and a bad quarterback. In general, that's not going to work. We'll see how it works for Anthony. At least Randall can run. So we'll see what happens there. But now he's got a 4th 7 with Rathman. He's got a 4th 7 with Rathman, who, by the way, has a great flat pass card as well. Well, Tom, does he only throw bombs? He can throw a flat every now and then, maybe. But in a vacuum anyway, this is a very fun running back for flat pass, short pass receiving card. It's a 6'7", and look at this. 2nd and goal for the 2. You want to go after my halfback, Thurman Thomas? This is an excellent short yardage running card. I love the Rathman card for the role it can play. I used a 6'7" in Battle Royale, and it's running left, off tackle and run. It's a lot of fun. You got a 6'7" over there, and hopefully at least a 5 or a 6 among one of your offensive tackle on that side or something. And then you get Brent Jones as a tight end, who's only a 4 blocking. He's got a very nice flat pass card. He's acceptable short. And just like Rathman, he can technically catch the ball. So I love that unit. I don't like it as much I love that unit. And I thought they should have gone a little earlier. This is 5th. I was thinking of them late 4th round also. I had to take a defensive line. So I wanted to set San Diego KR in the 4th round with this selection here. I really, this is where I was targeting from the beginning at San Diego KR. There was a run on 3-4 defensive lines. Kansas City went here, the Raiders went here, and I was going to miss out on good. And I know, and I've played very strong defense in this setup when I'm good. I wanted to get that. So I said, I'll pass on the Charger, on the wide receiver thing. I'll go good. Maybe it'll still be in the 5th round. Then late in the 4th round, it dawned on me, there's no way that this pick is getting past both Dennis and Rick. There's no chance in hell. No chance in hell. And it didn't. But Dennis took it 2, 3, 4 picks before me. If he didn't take it, Rick would have taken it probably. So anyway. So sometimes you watch the good guys put their teams together. Rick likes to throw deep. He's got good pass blocking. He's got good deep receivers. He has a running back with a ton of carries and a pretty good card. So he can get some wrong calls. Rick will get some wrong calls, or he'll run Thurman Thomas down your throat. With Tom Rathman as an acceptable assistant, and the backup halfback, I think, is decent. Buffalo. One of them's high fumble, though. Butch took Pittsburgh DB. I was very surprised. We only had one of the 21-point defensive back units go in the top 12. We'll probably finish the 1st round tonight. I'll apologize to my attendant later. But one of the top 12, only one of the top 12 picks was one of the 3 best defensive back units. Normally, you'll see 2 or 3 of them go in that top 12 because guys have seen what the good or what the excellent will do. Now, you're normally not going to get. You're not going to get. Hey, Dennis.
Hey, what's up? I thought there's no way they're still going. I said they got to be wrapped up by now.
Yeah, we're halfway through the 1st round. Someone tell him I'm not lying. I did a 1 hour presentation on how I do my spreadsheets and put them together, Dennis.
Oh my God!
And then I went through the units and talked about how the quarterbacks and running backs go together. I talked about Byron's ball. I talked about the defensive combos and looking for the good, or looking for the goods. And then eventually, after a couple hours, made my way into the 1st pick of the draft.
I don't believe you. You can't possibly be serious that you're only halfway through the 1st round.
Anthony's been here since the beginning. Anthony, you can type in the chat box and tell our esteemed commissioner, the Lord and High Mighty Commissioner Extraordinaire Dennis Crowley, whether I'm being truthful or not. Let's see if Anthony. Oh, we can't figure out how to type in the phone. That's right. You'd have to do it at the Slack.
That's all right. No big deal.
Yeah, well, when you attempt to fast forward to the first 2 hours later, you'll see that I'm being accurate.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep working on the spreadsheet so we can have some stuff for everybody to look at tonight. You keep talking. I'll chime in if I have a chance, but I'm going to mute myself.
Yeah, as I said 75 minutes ago, I should be done in a few minutes. Okay, thanks, Dennis. So anyway, so Butch got the Pittsburgh, the secondary, number 13 overall. Usually the top tier secondaries go in the top 10 or 11. Joe Golden took it number 4, and the Pittsburgh last number 13. I was surprised at that. Now there was really no path to excellent that I knew of. So that's part of why they went. They didn't go earlier, I suppose. But this is one of the best things you can have is a good pass defense. I'm telling you that. There you go. Thank you, Anthony, for verifying it to Dennis. I'm telling you that mathematically, you can believe me or not believe me. You can tell me I'm full of some things. But the good is one of the best. The good pass defense, one of the best things you can have. And I would prefer it over 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 of the picks that went in the top 12. I'd have rather had the Pittsburgh DB to lock up that good pass defense. And he got an above average kick returner by 9 yards a game by my formulas, which means that later on when he takes a return group, he could focus on just a good punt returner or helping another unit on the field. And that makes him not have to prioritize that unit as highly. And there's a benefit to that. So a very excellent pick for Butch to get Pittsburgh at number 13. I like a lot of these picks for Butch. Denver will be second, Dalton Hilliard third. And then maybe I would like to see a little something else. Maybe not that Indianapolis offensive line. You got Colts receivers the 6th. That's pretty solid. I think that was Steve DeBerg, unfortunately. He's complaining because I took Testaverde. You could have had him. You took the New England fullback tight end. Why is that so good? Let me see what they got there. What was it? Tupo average 3.5 yards a carry. Okay. This tight end better be pretty damn good, Butch. Bob Perman is the fullback. It's a 5.5, which is not going to help you against those massive free safety blitzing with linebacker bumps. 3.7. Running the ball, it should say here, does not occur. It's a horrible rushing card. Tatupu used to be a short yardage guy. Yes. Tight end. Lynn Dawson? He might be a 6. Eric Severs? 54 catches, a 5. That's a pretty solid tight end card. We've worried about losing Vinny. I would not have taken that New England fullback TE unit and then complain that that Vinny wasn't there for me in the 8th round. It was really the 7th round. And you know when you're the quarterback, what do you think I'm going to do, Butch? Now that no one took Atlanta's tight end. You would have ended up with Ron Heller, who's not bad. And the backup fullback, because the starter would have gone with the returners, Gene Lang. I can't believe no one took this guy. He's got a decent running card. He's a 4.3 blocker. And look at this. Gene Lang, who knew? Look at this flat pass receiving. This guy has went undrafted. If this was the NFL, he would be one of the most highly sought after undrafted free agents. Oh, I love that flat pass card. Gene, we hardly knew you. Look at the short pass, 6'11". That's got to be 16.22. No one took it. Why, because Keith Jones was gone? I don't know. Anyway, I might have rather had that unit than this New England one, period. Anyway, my friend Butch is a great guy. If you wanted Vinny, this is where you blew it. Because look at what you did here. You had the good pass defense. You had the hellacious linebackers. You had the running back with the carries. You even got a good offensive line. You probably got good on defense. You took a nice pair of receivers with the Colts. Got yourself a good punt returner. Vinny's sitting there, ready to sign, ready to put on the uniform, ready to sign the contract. And you take Eric Severs and Brett Perman. And then complain when I draft Vinny. Can't do it, Butch. Got to think about that. Great job for 6 rounds, Butch. But here, this is where dreams go to die. This is like me. This is all not. It's not as bad. I was worse with this one, the Detroit 5th round. This is one of the worst picks in the draft right here. Big bold letters. I did a horrible job because of this one here. One pick can ruin your draft, and I ruined it right here. And Butch, I wouldn't say Butch hurt it, but I wouldn't say Butch ruined it. But Butch hurt himself right here. Well, because he wanted Vinny. If he didn't want Vinny because of the picks or the whatever, that's fine. But if you wanted him, he was right there. You had him. Just take him. I'll take the Tampa Bay quarterback, round 7. No, well, how long was he supposed to last? Now, Vinny's not great. He was probably kind of the best of the scrubs. What's that movie? Is it 16 Candles or Breakfast Club where he says King of the Dipshits? Anthony McElhole, King of the Dipshits, Vinny. We all wanted him more than the other guys. No one wanted to draft him too highly. 8th round, I was happy there. My team sucks anyway. But Butch, you had it. Butch, that would have got well with Butch. He would have had the Byron's formula. It had the running back with all the carries and the good defense and a couple of good deep receivers and a strong arm quarterback with a good long pass wrong. That's Byron's ball. And it works when you can't get a normal quarterback. Who's speaking up there? Is that Butch? Are you trying to defend yourself, Butch?
No, it's me. I can confirm that it was 16 Candles that Farmer Chet was the king of the dipshits.
Thank you very much. That's like the guy on the radio show, like Stats on Pro Football Talk, comes in with the needed information at the key moment. So I don't think it's horrible that you can get Vinny Butch. I'm just I just think if you wanted him, I don't see enough appeal in that New England unit to pass on him. The fullback is terrible. So anyway, he'll help with the running game with the blocking. Is that Meander? As I can see, that'd be my nickname. Would be the Meanderer. It's a horrible sounding nickname. Gotta find something that means that. I could be like the human rain delay, like Mark Hargrove. Letting these things go on forever. The 14th pick in the draft, me. I took the Saints linebackers because it guaranteed me good against the pass, pretty much. I think it was guaranteed one of these units was going to get back to me almost, and gave me a good shot at good against the run. There were some hellacious linebacker units in this thing. The thing is, this is the part. This is why the pick was there. I was surprised it was there. On the one hand, but on the other hand, there was just a ton of good linebacker units. Like every unit's got like a 6'12" with an asterisk on it. It looks like, Oh no, poor me. I got the Colts. He's only a 5'12", 3. That's still a good unit. 4.555. All these 3-4 units. Some of them play so awesome as a 4-3. I was entertaining 4-3. I just like to play a 4-3 that goes 5.66 at linebacker. Oh, So Michael got Cleveland 6.65 late. I thought that was a steal. But these groups slipped. The one there's not a lot of good 4-3 run defenses in this unit in this year. Part of the reason why you were going to see so many 3-4s. But just a lot of good units. I mean, the Rams are like 8th, and it's like 6-12-12 Kevin Green. San Diego is like in a 3-4. They're down here. It's 5.506. If you play a 4-3 with the Chargers, it's 5.56, and the guys are 6.12-10. I mean, there's just like 7. There's just like if you add up the numbers, if you add the 5.56, it's like 17 points, 16 points just everywhere. New England's 3-4. Dennis had to settle for San Francisco and Detroit. Those aren't bad units. So there's a lot of depth at linebacker. That's part of why a group like the Saints and the Browns slipped. But those you get a top-notch linebacker core, you got to always check the chart. You can't assume. But you check the chart like I check the Saints. I said, great, I got to get 19 points or better to get good pass defense. So I'm committing my second-round pick already to a defensive back unit. But I knew drafting 14. I think it's good to draft near the end at times. I'll draft anywhere, really, but I don't mind drafting at the end. Some guys complaining. It's good. You can more easily figure out if something's going to be there for you next time. I think I counted, and I knew that I pretty much was going to get at least a 19. I was hoping for a 20 because it's just stronger. But if I had to, I could get the 19. I just confirmed. This is breaking news. 20 is stronger than 19. That's a good thing I'm doing the show. But I knew if I got even a 19 that then it would be a good. And I was definitely going to get the 19. There's only 8 of them, and only like 2 had gone. But I got the 20, which is I was glad for. So we'll see. Again, I had no problems with my draft in the first 4 rounds, even though I didn't really want the Kansas City fullback. I needed a good running card of late 3rd round, and Butch screwed me. It's round 5 where I killed my team. I now have almost no chance of the championship because of this pick only. I can maybe do something decent out. They're a mid-level team. We'll see if I can get them going. I haven't missed the playoffs yet. So I'm going to play for pride. Jason took the Cincinnati secondary, grabbing the last 21-point unit. Nothing wrong with that. Brian took the linebackers. Excellent group. I like them a lot. I hope he's playing a 4-3 because that rate of 4-3. That rate of 4-3 was only going to get you to average against the run, unfortunately. Really, you were locked in. You couldn't get to good in a 4-3. In a 3-4, you could get to good with the Wallens, Cleveland, Green Bay. So he's probably playing 3-4 because I think he's got Cleveland, right? Yeah, okay. So he'll play 3-4 to get to good, which makes sense. You know, Joe Golden is not paying attention to the mute your own microphone instruction, I might add. Thank you, Dennis. Joe, if you want to talk, say something and message me on Slack and we'll unmute you. But we muted you because there's a lot of background noise there. We're almost wrapping up here. But he's playing 3-4 because it gets him to good, which is understandable. Now, I think Joe just unmuted himself, thinking he was muting himself. Joe, we're going to mute you. There's a lot of noise in the background. Unmute yourself. I think it sounded like he's fighting Darth Vader. There we go. Okay.
No, I thought it sounded more like a Cylon. You know, it had a little bit of.
That's right. That's great. So yeah, he has to play the 3-4 because he gets him good against the run. In a way, it's a shame. You know, I would do the same thing if I was him. But the rate of 4-3 provided some nice pass rush. 7-5, 8-11 in a 4-3 in a season that doesn't have a lot of pass rush. And because of these linebacking groups, you're almost guaranteed to get somebody really good that can rush the quarterback. That Cleveland doesn't have it, but other groups. So I thought like a 4-3 average with like one really good blitzer and the Raiders defensive line would have been a really nice way to go if you couldn't get to the good. And maybe even worth playing if you could get to the good. Dennis might say that. Dennis, would you go look at the Raiders DL here? All right, let's say you could have gotten some hellacious linebacker 4-3 group like the Chargers in a 4-3, who were 5-5-6 with a 6 to 12-10. Now, would you rather play the Raiders DL with that Charger group and be average, or would you rather play like a 3-4 DL and be good?
Oh, 3-4, of course.
Okay. And what if you didn't have the pass rush? Like Cleveland's linebackers who don't give you Leslie O'Neal or whoever that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still like the flexibility of dropping somebody on the line of scrimmage. And those 3-4 defenses are so good at stopping the short yardage. You know, if these are, you know, a lot of the teams we have running backs that are not, you know, I would say fantastic. So you're going to get a lot of 3rd and short, 4th and short. I want that guy to be on the line of scrimmage. I want to be able to put 2 men in the off tackle zone or the linebacker zone. If I know there's going to be somebody, I have a good feeling that somebody's coming there.
Sure. Yeah, no, I love the flexibility of 3-4. I was just curious. I know you like pass rush. I was curious if the pass rush was enough to sway you towards the 4-3, also knowing that some of these 4-3 linebacker groups are so hellacious. But I would go your way too. I've just seen the good do too many things. I love the 3-4 because you can flood the flats, you can plug run zones, you can drop a guy to double a linebacker while still covering flats. There's just so much flexibility in the 3-4. But the 4-3, a lot of guys do really well with it also. I'm not going to kill a 4-3. A 4-3 good against the run is very strong. I mean, those 4-3s that are good against the run are very strong, but you got to be able to defend the flats. Also, no white die 6. I almost prefer a 4-3 in this era, depending on the personnel.
So we're talking about Brian picking up the Raiders defensive line and what he chose to do. He went 3-4, good average, I believe.
Yeah, well, what I was saying is, I would have done the same thing. I was just pointing out it's almost a shame that that the Raiders went somewhere where you couldn't play a 4-3 with them.
I see.
Because I would have liked to see them go somewhere where the guy kind of had to play a 4-3. It's like, I'm going to be average anyway. I might as well play the 4-3 with the Raiders or whatever.
Right.
You know, and maybe someone who knew how to use some pass rush, maybe like Rick or you or someone like that. And I'd like to see with that 4-3 with the Raiders and a good trio of linebackers and go to work with that, because that would have been. I think that you could see that working really well, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But if I was good.
The other thing too is that because of these offensive lines are weak, it's an underrated thing. But if you play a 4-3 and you got 4 guys that can rush the pass decently against a guard that's a 5-3 or a 4-4, you're going to get sacks. On a short pass, an 8 against a 4 or an 8 against a 3. You don't realize it, but when you do realize it if you think about it. But when you're playing a 4-3, if you don't bring anybody, you've got one extra pass rusher as opposed to a 3-4 that doesn't bring anybody. He's flooding a flat. So that comes into play.
Yeah, and in this era, it's helpful. Like, this left tackle is only a 5. With one blitz, he's a 7.
Right.
You're doing free safety blitz with one linebacker from a 4-3, and that can be really strong. I was doing that with the 85 Bears team. Not the 85 Bears, the 85 Summer Sprint team I had that had the Bears defensive line. So he did the right thing. I would have done the same thing if I was in issues. You did the same thing issues. I'm just saying, I was just curious to see. I really like this Raiders line, considering you're going to get stuck with an average. It's like, if I'm going to get stuck with an average, this 4-3 line, and the pass rush doesn't look great, but there's no 12-8 there or something like that. But it's better. It would play, I think, better than you realize. Like you said, you run into more sacks, I think, than you realize. Particularly in this era when there's not as much blocking. I mean, how many right tackles are better than like a 5?
Right, exactly.
That guy's going to be going up against like some 3s and 4s. One blitz, he's a 9. Free safety blitz plus one linebacker, and now you're like 9, 7, 10, 13. If your linebacker is good, he's a 12, and then the asterisk is like a 10 or something. So I would like to see that end up somewhere where the guy had to play an average, but I would do the same thing if I was Brian. But it's just sort of a strategy thing to think about. All right, so moving on, and we'll do all of the teams of the season preview show. So look at the first round here. That's probably all we'll do tonight. The 2-1 picks. Washington with Mike Nemo, Finding Nemo. He must have heard that. He must be so sick of that. It's like I have Andrew Luck. It's like Andrew Luck and Nona Wind, and it's Samifa. So when I first started using him, almost every game, it was a lucky result for you. Looks like you had all the luck tonight. Oh, well, Tom, that's the case of bad luck. Oh, always with a capital L. I was like, oh my God, I wish I had drafted someone else. And I spoke about it in the show, and no one does it. So it's good. So
I guess you lucked out then. Come on, give me the bump. You're out of luck. Oh, never mind. I'm done. Back to my spreadsheets.
Oh boy, we don't have that anymore. We need the sound effects. All right, so Mark Rippon then goes late first round. I talked about the quarterbacks, Dennis. For me, Montana and Everett, clear-cut guys I would have taken very highly. After that, I probably was going to go defensive secondary or top running back. But Moon and Esiason were my next 2 guys, and 2 guys I would have been happy to end up with. After those 4, I think I was waiting. I don't think Marino or Rippon did enough for me to sacrifice the good against the pass. And Rippon, I think his snap fumble was pretty high.
Now are these guys in order for you? Is this the order you had them?
Well, this is the numerical order based upon my formulas, but I would not have actually probably taken them in this exact order. But actually for the first, I'll tell you, for the first 5 guys is probably accurate. Yeah, Montana, Everett, Moon, Esiason, Marino.
Cool. Yeah, I know you mentioned that Chris Miller came out better than the guy I took, Dave Craig, but sometimes it's not just the numbers, it's the playability.
No. Yeah, I spoke about that at great length earlier while you were gone. I spoke about a lot of things at great length, Dennis. That's the only way I know how to speak about things. And look, I Chris Miller ahead of Vinny in my ratings, but I greatly prefer Vinny. I spoke about Chris Miller in particular. I spoke about this fact about the numbers not really they're not the end all for me. And I knew I didn't like his card, even though the numbers came out here. So I was not going to take Chris Miller. I could have. I took Vinny instead. I wasn't going to take him. I don't think I was going to take him at all, really. Maybe if I maybe depending on the team, maybe if I got down to Bubby or someone like that. I don't know.
Right. If you punted it to the very last round, then that's when you come into it.
That's when Miller would into the conversation. Round 10.
No, that's when Chris, you
win. Chris, I've got some bad news on the old signing bonus. But Rippin for me was a guy who came out decently in the numbers, but you know how I feel about the good pass defense. He's good flat. The short's not bad, 13-20, and the long 8-13. So he's fine, but I think with the snap fumble number being high, 12.3, that's going to kill you. And just the era that we're in, and the impact of a good pass defense, I'd have rather gone for one of those things. The top running backs that I liked were gone. So I probably would have gone for, well, first of all, I would have taken Warren Moon over Rippin. Just my formula, Moon comes out very, very strong compared to Rippin. Montana were the two to get. I was taking Moon over Rippin. I was taking Boomer over Rippin. I don't know about Marino, but I was taking Moon and Boomer over Rippin definitely. And I preferred the good pass defense, I think, certainly over Rippin. He's not bad, I'm just saying. So, and it's hard, I think, it can be hard to try to win pass first. But he got running backs the next round, so we'll see what happens. It's Mike Nemo. He's a pretty good coach, so we'll see what he does there. That's not a terrible pick. I'm not trying to kill the pick. I'm just telling you what my view of it. I went into a whole big thing in the beginning, Dennis, about the quarterbacks and the good pass defense and what's good and why and how hard it is to pass first in this era and what it takes and all that stuff, and the rule set and what it takes, all that stuff. Then we ended so I could see Rippin going there. I preferred the good pass defense. Then we got into the last pick of the round was Gerald, and he took Green Bay's Don Majkowski, Magic Madge, who I really liked as a when I was watching football that era. He was a fun player to watch. Came out of nowhere, started doing well for Green Bay, and then had a bad injury. That was it. And I used him in Strat probably with this very card. The year I got injured, actually. 1990 was the year I was in my car accident, Dennis. That paralyzed me, and I was playing about 9 months later, playing a lot of Strat football with my brother and some guys in the neighborhood. And I had a few. We each had like 3 teams, and Green Bay was one of my teams because of Majkowski. So I mentioned earlier, I liked Majkowski's card, as he was not. There were tiers, right? He wasn't in the top tier, but I thought that because of the interceptions, he might be there in like the 3rd round. Normally, there's like 3 or 4 guys in like the 3rd round, 3rd, 4th, 5th round that I like as quarterbacks, and that's usually where I get my quarterback. Dennis will tell you, I almost never take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds of this thing. And I'm more likely to go in rounds 3 through 6, the guy who's kind of a mid-level guy. I tend to avoid the bottom guys as well. But this year, once Majkowski went, you see why the card's appealing. Once Majkowski went, that's when we all had a cliff. Well, Joe went for Kenny O'Brien, who's not too bad. But I thought Madge was going to be later. But I can't blame Gerald for taking him. I am surprised to take him over Moon. Just because of my formulas, I guess. I mean, I like the way Madge's card looks. 7, 9, 10, short pass right. He's got the 8-15 long pass. But Gerald followed it up by kind of going pass heavy. The Washington receivers gives you the 3 good receivers. That Rams running back, I just don't like Greg Bill's card very much. 7 right and wrong, then the offensive line. So I don't think you have the running game to take the pressure off with Majkowski. I don't think you have enough pass blocking to go pass first in this era, even though they took the 3rd best one. There just weren't that many good ones. And then I don't know what the defense ends up looking like because you're not getting your first unit until the 5th round. Matter of fact, it's poor against the pass. That's right. So I don't mind the pick that much, but maybe a little more defense after that pick. So the a little more balance for the team, I think. So I don't think the Majkowski can carry the offense enough to maybe offset that poor pass defense. But we'll see. Gerald's first time around this thing. and guys pick up things. And Gerald said after a few rounds, I can see that everyone's going defense. So sometimes you got to do a couple of drafts and then to see what you want to do. And every set is different. So that'll be the show tonight. I didn't really finish the whole thing. Well, I'm going to try to remember a couple more things down. I loved War Moon at 19. At 21, rather, I think that's a great spot to get him. Philly DL is a solid pickup. San Fran secondary gets you somewhere. I talked about somebody saying Dennis lucked out a little bit, but also skill in getting Tampa Bay to fold him so he could get a good pass defense, even though he's not taking his first defense unit to the middle of the second round. Not in love with Bobby Humphrey. Is that Bobby Humphrey, Greg Bell, Gerald Riggs cards? Those cards are like that 7 or 8 short game, right and wrong, and not a lot else good on the card. They're a little spotty for me. I love James Brooks down here pairing with Jim Everett. The Green Bay linebacker group is excellent. This guy's surprised they lasted so long. A little early for the San Fran receivers for me, but I know how dominant they are, and you're pairing them with Bo Jackson. You're going to get that some long pass action there. I don't really understand this Minnesota fullback blocking back tight end pick because I know Steve Jordan is real good, but I don't think there was enough. I don't know why that unit would go over the San Fran unit, I think. Jordan's up there high, but I think the fullback, Eric Fenny's not bad. It's okay, but I think I had a few units ahead of that one. Even the Jets with Mickey Shula and Johnny Hector give you more at the 2 positions. I think I had San Diego, or that's Bernstein. The Giants give you Bavaro and a 6-7 blocker. And Beckett's got a really good receiving card. The Jets, the Niners, actually Minnesota further down, way down here actually. So, but different strokes for different folks. I think we'll wrap it up now because it's almost 1 o'clock. All right, guys. So I was gonna only do like the first round or something, but I wanted to talk about the set. I wanted to talk about the way I ranked the players. I wanted to talk about the tiers, and we did all that, and we got through the first round. So there probably won't be a part 2, but there'll certainly be a season preview show. Hopefully Dennis can join me, and we'll go team by team and look at all the teams and figure out or try to predict who's going to do what. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.